On this episode of DC On Screen, Wonder Woman 1984's release fate has been decided. Zack Snyder's been making the live stream rounds and even answers a question from yours truly. The Suicide Squad brings in Sylvester Stallone, and Keanu Reeves' Constantine seems to be back in action. All this and so much more, including the 2 new CW superhero shows that have just been announced and questions from you, our loyal listeners. Right after these mystery messages. Welcome into DC On Screen episode 619. This is the podcast where we talk about the DC Comics multiverse on film and television, give honest opinions on projects upcoming and past, and believe that every version of a property is valid, even if we don't want it to be. If it's been released, it is fair game, so beware of spoilers, and welcome to the show. I'm David C. Robertson, and this the man who once vomited on me ever so gently while I humiliated a pheasant, Jason Goss.
So mad if I didn't know that reference.
It's nothing sordid, I assure you.
I feel like you had that response planned no matter what I said.
Absolutely.
Hedonism Bot, people. A favorite of the Futurama writer's room, and a favorite in both mine and Dave's hearts.
Hedonism Bot.
Like I think that the origin was like they were going to design the most useless bot they could come up with, and that was what they conjured up was Hedonism Bot. Just like a bot wearing like Greek laurels, eating grapes all the time, doesn't even really have legs. His
body is a couch.
It's like a settee or whatever it's called. Like
He's just
I don't even know what that thing's called. Like we inherited one. It's like it's almost like an ottoman, but it has a back. Like in theory, you're supposed to kind of lounge on it, I guess.
It just sounds like a couch to me. But
it's just a couch, but it has like a weird hump in it. I don't know. It's the thing my dog uses to pounce on the bed.
Mm-hmm. And Hedonism Bot would have a weird hump in it.
Absolutely, it would. And not enough. More humps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
that's the bit though.
And by the way, he's pure gold. Obviously,
he is
made
pure
of
gold.
The exterior of Hedonism Bot is made of pure gold.
Mm-hmm. And he says to Bender, "Might I procure your services?" And he's like, "Oh, okay. What do I got to do?" He's like, "Oh, nothing sordid, I assure you.
Mm-hmm.
Simply vomit on me ever so gently while I humiliate a pheasant."
Mm-hmm.
We were crying.
Yeah,
we were laughing so hard when we saw that.
It was that good, and that might have been the 19th time I've seen that, and I still cried. They also had a habit in the writers' room there where they would like, if they needed like, okay, here's the beat. What's the joke going to be? It'd be like, they were all very like academic in how they approach things. Like there were literally, I think, 6 PhDs in the room at one point. Mm-hmm. They approach things from like a scholastic viewpoint. So they would literally do a thing where they're like, all right, everyone write their version. So it'd be like a test. Everyone like wrote to their own thing and threw their index card in or whatever. And they'd go around the room and pull it up. And I guess that was the one that won, like, vomit on me ever so gently.
All right.
Glorious. All right.
Yeah. So real quick, do you want to feel old?
Oh, I dare you. I dare you to match my day. I started jogging again. Try me.
Oh, God.
Bring it, Bo. Bring it.
Yesterday was 28 years. 28 years since the death of Superman was released.
Oh, yeah, it's nothing. It's just, yeah.
I mean, yes, it does
also
compared to your
short of, but
nothing close to your short of breath.
Yes, yeah. Nothing short of my body gasping at what it thought was its last moments. But yeah, that is something. And me having to assure it that you casually did 4 times this years ago, just 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hell of a landmark, though. I give it that.
Yeah. Wow. And I have to wonder if November 17th was. I can't remember if Snyder picked that day for Justice League to come out, because the 17th was also the day that Justice League came out theatrically, like that version of it.
Yeah. I think. My memory fades. I know there was a lot of argument about the date, and I know even Whedon was saying it's not ready yet. But
yeah, no, there was all that. Yeah,
I don't remember if it got pushed back to the 17th,
mm-hmm.
or if it was supposed to come up before. It's been too long now.
Because if Snyder was like, November 17th is great, and that was the death of Superman, and he knew that. Which, if anyone knew that, it would be Snyder.
Yeah, I mean, he would have done the research. Yeah.
Anyway, we got a lot of Snyder stuff to talk about, but. Oh my lord. Like right before we started recording, they announced that Wonder Woman 1984 is going to be released on HBO Max and in theaters on December 25th.
Woohoo!
Patty Jenkins released this, said the time has come at some point you have to choose to share any love and joy you have to give over everything else. That let me translate that for you. They told me I have to do this.
I've read this, and I was going to ask for 10 seconds to be a little bit mad at Patty after you finished.
We love our movie.
Probably ask for those 10 seconds.
Yeah, we love our movie as we love our fans, so we truly hope that our film brings a little bit of joy and reprieve to all of you this holiday season. Watch it in theaters, in all caps, where it is made safe to do so. Check out the great work theaters have done to make it so, and available in the safety of your home on HBO Max where it is not. Happy holidays to all of you. We hope you enjoy our film as much as we enjoyed making it. Yeah, see, though, the problem is, one, I don't believe this was a decision that you made, Patty.
No.
So saying we, I'm not buying it. Two,
I want to preempt it with the overall, I love Patty, except for her course of decisions regarding this.
Well, I don't believe it's her decisions, and I don't think it ever has been. First,
let me rephrase. Except for the course of sound bites regarding this.
Exactly. There you go. So there's that, and I'm sorry, Patty, that you can't be Christopher Nolan, not yet, and just decide that it's going to...
Why did you not learn from that?
Nolan was wrong. He was wrong.
He was wrong, and we knew he was wrong.
But look
he
at
released
all the
what should have been a $300 million in 1 weekend film to $20 million.
Yeah, and guess what?
It was nothing.
Nolan's hubris got us here.
Yes.
Because the first Wonder Woman was a huge success. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The profits came in 50-50 from US and international. Okay. So internationally, we've gotten COVID, or they've gotten COVID. I'm going to do exactly what Patty, I just railed on Patty for doing. I don't want to say we. I didn't have anything to do with that. Internationally, they've got COVID a little better under control. A little better.
Slightly.
So, maybe there's more theaters. Guess what? We don't really have any theaters that are in our immediate area that are open.
No.
So,
dude,
we
have two major chains, AMC and Regal, right?
Yeah.
They're both fucking shut down right now. It's over.
Yeah. I
drove by our local theater this afternoon just for funsies. Just did a quick little loop around the parking lot because I was in the area anyway. Mm-hmm. It's just blank posters, darkness inside. And at some point driving by, I was wondering, you know what? I bet they've never had to clean dust off those seats before. That's not a thing you have to deal with. You clean the floors, you clean whatever else. You probably don't actually have to go take a vacuum to the seats.
If there's anyone even in there doing anything.
There aren't. And to some extent, I know that because, I know some of the maintenance people involved at one location and they are not.
Yeah.
Even the maintenance is off. You would think maybe you would take advantage of there are things we can do now that no one's here. Mm-hmm. Long-term projects that seemed really hard, we can just have them, knock them out. No, they kind of toyed with that and they're not anymore. It's over.
Yep.
The future of whatever's, I don't know. And the two major, outlets for theater in hell, the U.S. in general, not looking great. Not really doing anything productive. I feel like Patty was talking about somewhere she knows, and she's probably right. There are cases of people that are really taking great precautions and doing good work there, and bless them. But it's not. That's not the overall. That's not what we're looking at.
Yeah, not everywhere.
Even in her little soundbite urging go see it in theaters if you can. No, Patty, no, don't watch it at your house. It's getting worse. It's getting better.
Absolutely. And people like me who are already weird about it.
To be mad. Sorry.
I know. People like me who are already weird about it. I didn't like theaters in the first place, but
it was already a congested format, but we took it as read,
Yeah. And then you're going to tell me it's coming out December 25th. I'm not going to watch this shit on HBO Max on Christmas Day. I got shit to do. I got places to be. I got people to be around, albeit at a safe distance.
I'll tell you this. I don't know how we're doing it yet. I haven't asked my family about Thanksgiving because I've been a little afraid to. We're not going. I mean, my household isn't going either way. I will make them a casserole and a cake and drop it off. But Christmas kind of remains to be seen. There's a chance I'm at home and can watch this on Christmas Day.
Yeah. I figured it would be fine with you.
Very well could be.
So this was exciting because it wasn't in the initial reports, but Jason Keelar came out with an official statement, and HBO Max is putting it out at no extra cost on the same day. So when it goes to HBO Max on December 25th, if you're a subscriber, you're not paying anything extra.
That's kind of cool.
That's really cool.
So they're going to rely on the streaming numbers too. One of the regrets, and I really do understand Patty's reluctance here. One of the regrets is just due to the nature of it being Wonder Woman. You know, she does have to fight some of the. There's like a go broke crowd that she has to kind of fight with the theatrical figures, and you know, round one she won outright. You know,
right?
The numbers spoke for themselves. So one of my problems is like if you release this film in theaters and exclusively in theaters, your numbers are going to be so shitty that it's going to feed the trolls to some extent.
The trolls are fed either way.
Yeah, I get that. But that one specifically is going to.
It's infuriating because they're so freaking ignorant.
I get that too.
I just see it I've already with like seeing it being posted, this news being posted on Facebook. The assholes with the little laughing face emoji, like, oh, I knew it wasn't going to. No, you didn't know shit.
No,
you don't know shit. Guess what? I don't really. I mean, I'm gonna watch it. I hope that it's awesome. Don't really care. It's been too long. I'm drained. I've seen enough. I'm not like actively like jonesing for this movie anymore.
No, the hype is gone. It was gone 6 months ago. It was almost gone the better part of a year ago. And that's not the fault of the movie. It's just the fault of the year. Like, it's just how things went. No one there's at fault. Even, I know the film was supposed to be released a year ago. Mm-hmm. I believe that there were internal reasons that were over a year ago, actually, right?
It has been done and sitting on a shelf for 2 years.
It was supposed to be released. No, it was. It was like last June. All right. So at the time, when they made the decisions to delay the release, it was for a certain reason, and that had nothing to do with anything we've been dealing with in 2020 with COVID. Mm-hmm. No one saw that coming. I get that. I completely forgive it that fault. That's not their fault at all. But like not copping to the new reality of like, okay, we need to stream this. Like not doing the Milan path even of, $20 to watch it at home. I mean, I'm perfectly happy. I'm going to get to watch it on HBO Max, which I already have. Yeah. Twice almost, because I didn't realize I had HBO on Amazon until they emailed me and said, hey, great. It includes this now. I was like, oh no, I'm sorry. I did not know I was paying that. Cancel. I have HBO Max separately. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I would have been happy to pay for it, to watch it in the comfort of my own home, and would have been thrilled about it. Mm-hmm. And the fact is, like, I say there's no hype. I also, I feel like I'm not displaying my own feelings on that. Yeah, I'm excited now. I get to see it. We know when I get, I get a month. I got 5 weeks to wait. And I can finally see this damn movie that actually is kind of exciting. And I feel like in the days when it's coming up to me being able to actually see it, I'm going to get more hyped. I do really want to see the movie. It's just that the momentum's kind of gone. Mm-hmm. And they didn't change with the times as far as... so that was probably more the studio than Patty, if we're, really parsing it out. But
oh, absolutely.
But anyway, all right. I think I'm done being arrogant about that.
All right. So...
just the whole thing's been a very sour taste. Like they just didn't accept reality, and we should have had it already.
Well, this might actually work out pretty well because I don't know if you saw, but HBO Max is now on Amazon Fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. That's why I had to cancel that part of my subscription.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
God. Sorry. My brain just went away for a second.
I've been paying for 2 versions of HBO for like 9 months or whatever, and didn't realize it.
You just told me that.
Like literally Amazon was like, hey, congratulations, your subscription. And I was like, hold on now. Wait, hold on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry. I know. I just heard you say that. I'm stupid. I just went bleh. So what's funny about that is the only person left behind now is Roku.
Oh, I know.
And Amazon Fire TV is the second most used behind Roku. So guess who just got a lot of leverage they already had leverage because, you know, when you look at the numbers, people usually kind of go with the content provider over the service. Like, they're going to go with HBO Max. They're going to find a way to do it if they want to watch a thing. So, yeah, I don't think Roku's... I any day now, Roku's going to be like, well, we figured it out. Like, I bet you did. You did.
I was curious. I agree. Yeah, they're fucked. Like, their biggest bargaining chip is off the table. It's over.
Yep.
I mean, the river came down and none of those cards matched that shit. Like, it's over. Mm-hmm. So what I was curious about though, and I just haven't gotten to look into it. So if you know, on my Roku, if I'm watching Amazon Prime, I could get to what is still called HBO Go.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get to any HBO Max content. So I wondered if the HBO Go content would include some of the HBO Max content, but I suspect not.
Yeah, no.
They wouldn't even let you side load. Like, you couldn't even hack this thing on your TV. I doubt it.
No. But yeah, man, like with this news, like, you know what came out like today? I think it was today. Like, surprise early drop. And they did this shit on purpose. Okay, it was announced that Amazon Fire TV has been worked out with HBO Max. Okay. That is the triple threat. That yesterday's Snyder Cut trailer came back, or a new version of it came out. God, what was I going to say? We got Amazon Fire. We got
there's a third wheel here.
Snyder Cut. Oh yeah. No, it's a quadruple threat. Sorry.
Okay.
Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
Officially announced today is going to be on HBO Max December 25th. And then Fresh Prince reunion dropped early.
Oh.
Yeah. Twitter's like, that's just trending on Twitter. Like, people are excited as shit. And it's not even like a reunion movie. It's just like them sitting around talking about shit. But like the original Aunt Viv, like both Aunt Vivs are there. Like, I want to stop doing this show right now and watch it.
I saw the little hype video that Will put out a couple of days ago, and I kind of meant to send it to you just to see what you thought. I assumed you'd seen it at some point.
Oh, yes. I thought fap. I love the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I really enjoyed that show too. I haven't watched it, 3 or 4 times like you. I think I watched
3 or 4 times. You fool.
Just? Oh no.
That's somewhere, that's up there with like Seinfeld and like the Andy Griffith Show for me. Like, nice. I've watched it many, many, many times. So many times.
All right, fair enough. I feel you. Yeah, like I watched it live, and I know I watched syndication whenever I saw it, but I never dug in like that. But I always enjoyed the show, and I kind of watched the reunion thing, and I knew that was going to be kind of fun. I mean, hell, I even got a little teared up when it goes to that one scene with Will, and we all know that one.
Which
scene.
one? Why don't he want me, man?
Why don't he want me, man? Yeah, it's impossible not to see. Not to see that scene and just, oh, fuck, that's so good.
That is a really good scene. Like, yeah, apparently, like, when Uncle Phil hugged him, he, like, whispered in Will's ear, that was acting.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
You gotta love, though, that he dug so deep to find that character, and then he hugs his ostensible father in the show, and that father who, in the real life version, he was trying to impress this guy constantly. In that trailer, he calls him like he was this 6'4", like Shakespearean monster or something like that. And like he really wanted to impress him. And within the context of that scene, there's this wonderful meta moment where he actually does impress his like on-set father figure. That's glorious, man. That's fantastic. I'd watch the whole fucking reunion special just for that moment.
And that's not even counting the original Aunt Viv coming back. Like, after all of her like bullshit with Will, and like they have a whole thing going on, they hate each other. Like, man,
they got it worked out. I actually really enjoy the moment where like Will Smith's like, dude, I didn't even know I could act. And what's Carlton's real name?
God,
it's 3 names, I think.
It's
there's a hyphen in there somewhere.
Well, I just said I've watched this show so many times I can't remember this guy's name. It's Alfonso something.
It's like Alfonso Raphael Williams or some shit.
Alfonso Ribeiro.
Oh, there you go. Oh, I thought there was a hyphen or whatever. Anyway,
I do that shit all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, I've done this so much. I know it backwards and forwards. They're like, what's this? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel you.
I hate myself. God.
I feel you.
I'm like Chris Farley over here just beating my head. Stupid. When he asked Paul McCartney whether or not his death was a hoax. Remember they said Paul is dead? Uh-huh. That was a hoax, right? Yeah.
Weird side story. Somebody actually got apparently got a really good interview out of Paul.
Uh-huh.
Because it was part of the agreement kind of not to sue him. Because the guy showed up at his doorstep and said, like, are you dead? And Paul just apparently threw a bucket of water on him.
Oh, God, that's good.
And just agreeing, I guess, to cool the waters in general. All right, well, let's sit down for a second.
That's fantastic.
Oh, fucking lovely. We should do a small episode of Is Paul Dead sometime. That'll be fun.
Oh, God. Dude, okay.
I'll run the entire conspiracy by you. It's actually a lot of fun to play with. There's so many things going on. They had a hotline. They literally set up a hotline. That there was a secret hotline that if you called it, it would. Anyway, it was in on the joke kind of thing, but it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, several years ago.
I'm looking for you.
This was like right after I got the internet, so it was probably 97 or 98, and I fell down the rabbit hole of Is Paul Dead?
I buried Paul.
And I came across an article that attempted to make, they're like, look, they were trying to prove that you could make this shit up and make anyone seem like there was some sort of hoax. And they chose, and this is why it grabbed my attention so heartily, they grabbed Tom Petty. Tom Petty, who would not die until 2016.
Uh-huh.
And they were like picking apart like lyrics. They were like putting it all together. And even though I knew exactly what they were doing, by the end of that article, I believed Tom Petty had died. And they had replaced him with a lookalike.
Damn it, man.
And I was sitting there going, I know logically I shouldn't believe this.
Yeah.
But in my heart, they made a really good case.
Yeah.
And I'm finding it really difficult to believe anything else. It's sort of like I randomly came across some girl had written a fanfic about Conan O'Brien, and it was all fictional. She stated everywhere it was fictional, but just like in the story, like this intern fell in love with him, and they had sort of a romance, and then he blew her off, and like there was a good 3 months there where I couldn't watch Conan because I was so pissed. Like, she actually did a good enough job that, like, my 14-year-old self was just, like, livid with Conan O'Brien. Like, I'm like, I can't look at him. I can't.
I feel like this has to do with a little bit the principle that we will anthropomorphize anything.
Uh-huh.
The Jeff Winger, like, I'm going to name this pencil and then break it, and you'll feel bad for it principle.
Yep.
I mean, there's definitely something to it. I do, I mean, end of my sidebar, I hope.
Oh, God.
When I have looked into the Paul is Dead conspiracy, and it is a fun thing to do. It really is. Like, I never left it with any question marks, but I left it thinking, man, these people put some time in.
Uh-huh.
But it's like 60% of the websites back when I was looking into it, and when I would really dive in like the early or the mid aughts, it's like it felt like 50 or 60% of them were like GeoCities websites that had a web ring at the bottom. Like the
Wasn't
whole
that
thing.
everything though?
I mean,
Back
yeah. No, not at the time. Not even in the mid aughts. Things were getting more complicated at the time. It was a very different landscape, and I genuinely feel like if I went back right now and tried to play some of it, it would still show up in that context. Mm-hmm. There would still be that aesthetic to a lot of the websites. Like, you won't believe this is real. Turn me on, dead man. The whole fucking thing.
Anyway, let's get back into this stuff, man. Let's see. Jason Killar says that getting back to Wonder Woman 1984, we believe this decision will bring several benefits. The first and most important benefit is to the fans in the form of unprecedented choice from day one. The second benefit, now see, that sounds unprecedented choice from day one.
Yeah.
That sounds like they are possibly gearing up for this to be like a real thing from here on out.
We'll see. They still have ultimate control over the release of their streaming numbers. So
Sure.
they can kind of say whatever they want, but they will know if it actually brought in the viewership. So it'll prove itself to them, and that's really all that matters as far as
and
going
he goes
forward.
on to talk about that. But when you look at the fact that theaters were not doing well before the pandemic, theaters were going under.
Yeah. The theaters have been on a bad row for about 4 years.
This was a situation that the studios were going to have to figure out to survive in. It's just the pandemic really escalated it and accelerated the timeline. So don't get it twisted. They know exactly what's happening. They've known for a while, and AT&T especially coming in with this, with the merger and everything, like the pandemic, they were just like, oh, look, we were already going to do this. Like,
oh yeah.
And, there's been another string of layoffs, and, they were looking to cut costs by 20%. AT&T is getting this shit under control, y'all. Yeah. They're kicking ass and taking names.
I feel like at a couple of these companies, if not all of them, there was somebody somewhere with a spreadsheet, and somebody finally walked in their door and they were like, I knew you'd come. I've been waiting.
Yeah. He goes,
and then they just kind of like give the whole, all right, let me crack my knuckles. All right. So here's what I've been studying for years.
Yeah. And somewhere there's
they have an Indiana Jones hat on.
Somewhere there's a 6-year-old going, why didn't they do this before? Yeah. Did you see that tweet? It got a lot of traction on our timeline. Someone posted a video of of Superman snapping Zod's neck, and he said, like, my 6-year-old just said, why didn't he do this earlier in the movie?
I mean, you're not wrong.
He goes on.
I guess the real answer is because it would have broken all our hearts instead of some.
Right. There's people attacking that 6-year-old now. With a 6-year-old, he doesn't understand like moral. Blah, blah, blah. Shut up. The second benefit is to
he or she is 6. Of course not.
The second benefit is to the
reasonable. It's like watching Bugs Bunny and Daffy, or Bugs Bunny and Elmer run around, and every now and then they're like, why would Elmer not just plant like TNT in every hole? I mean, I agree. I think it would probably take care of the Bugsy problem.
Yeah. And, this is a perfect thing for, the Snyder haters to be like, well, I mean, this just proves that Snyder and his followers have the mentality of a 6-year-old because, I mean, they're not willing to consider the implications of taking a life. And no, he considered the implication. That's the reason that he didn't kill him before. And that's the reason that he wailed and sobbed when he actually had to do it. Get over yourself, you jackass.
Anyway. Look into some like operational thinking, basic psychology kind of stuff too while you're at it, guys.
Yeah. Keelar says, he goes on, the second benefit is to the exhibitors providing an eagerly anticipated movie at a much needed time while they take precautions in their operations. Finally, we believe that our creative partners and ourselves will benefit from this decision, no kidding, in the form of fan response, both theatrically and via HBOMAX in the U.S. Then he goes on, I find it fascinating that we will be measuring the performance of this movie in an entirely new way. To use a line from The Wizard of Oz, we are not in Kansas anymore. While we will pay attention to the theatrical revenues, our expectations are clearly adjusted due to COVID-19. In parallel, we will be paying close attention to the numbers of families and fans diving into HBO Max, as we certainly anticipate that a portion of fans will choose to enjoy Wonder Woman 1984 that way on opening day and beyond. To provide a comparable, a little over 4 million fans in the U.S. enjoyed the first Wonder Woman movie on its opening day in 2017. Is it possible for that to happen again this Christmas with Wonder Woman 1984 between theaters and HBO Max? We are so excited to find out, doing everything in our power to provide the power of choice to fans. Dude, yeah. And then he says some bullshit about needing an uplifting story for the holiday season. You're full of shit, man. Stop trying to make it like Wonder Woman's all about love and we're trying to uplift them. No. You're trying to figure out how to make the money.
Yeah, we get it. We have needed an uplifting story long before this moment.
It's okay.
Colin be us on that part.
I don't need an uplifting story. I can go anywhere.
No, I could have used a distraction.
You know, there's plenty of distraction. How many subscription services do you and I both have? Like,
I know.
There are plenty of uplifting stories.
And sometimes they fall short of my ADHD's prowess.
Did you see the thing that my wife said that I posted on Twitter where she just like looked at me and was like, Charlie Brown was that little tree, wasn't he?
I meant to ask you, like, were y'all watching it again or?
No.
Or did she just have a moment where she was like, oh, I see now.
Actually, no, it was, we were watching Legion and, they had that little song about how everyone hates Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
It just clicked with her. Like, she was not a big Peanuts fan. Hadn't really ever gotten into it. And then she just kind of looked at me sad and was like, oh.
Oh, I mean, I get that.
Yeah.
I kind of got it. I mean, I think I've seen that Christmas special maybe twice in my entire life.
Yeah.
Never been a tradition for me. Although I would read, Peanuts every fucking week as a kid growing up in the, in the funnies. But it was kind of insight was like, well, that sounds right. I don't know.
Yeah.
But to get that out of Legion, it's kind of fun. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. This is where he's like meditating and they're playing the song, but,
the songs in that show were so powerful.
So good. Like we're in the middle of season 3, the final season. So
so much fun.
I know our buddy Scott on Squadcast hasn't seen it yet, so I'm not going to get into any kind of spoilers.
So early in season 3, they started with that little
stop.
It ended up being like a dance thing of like something for your mind.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not spoiling anything here. Good. They just do a really good job of incorporating music.
You could tell. You could say exactly what happened in the show, and I don't think you could really spoil it for real.
You genuinely couldn't. I could describe the last scene of the show in detail, and you would still be baffled for 3 seasons.
Yeah, probably. I think that's maybe overstating it, but anyway.
Actually, honestly, not really. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, if I describe the last 20 minutes as if I gave you the last 20 minutes in 3 sentences, you would still wonder how the fuck they got there for 3 seasons.
Fair enough. That's the great appeal to me of Kurt Vonnegut novels. He'll do stuff like that where you're just like, okay, you just told me the ending of your book, but I'll be damned if I'm not curious. How you got there?
All right. Okay, fine. How'd we get here?
Here's the interesting thing, or another interesting thing. Patty Jenkins said that they are working on a program to allow us, she says, allow you, your cohort, your family, or your pod to rent their own theaters out to screen the film in the safety of your group. We will try to help to bring it to as many of you as we can. Thank you for your support. So that's an interesting notion.
We did this like 3 years ago.
Did they?
No, we did. This is the thing we talked about being a good idea like 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, like the idea that you could just rent a theater by yourself, because at some point, we were speculating like, okay, look, if theaters keep having the problem they're having, where they're having problems hitting the price point. One of the problems was the price point, like the reason you were paying, $14 for 7 cents of popcorn was because they weren't making any money on the actual film rights. They just, they paid through the teeth to have them, and then they had to make everything up in concessions. It's actually not. It's a more extreme version of what happens every time you go to a gas station.
I like how you don't remember anything ever, but you remember shit like this, like that we talked about. I'm like, shit, man, we were ahead of the times, man.
If you ask me to place this, there's no fucking way out of our 7,000 episodes I could tell you where, but I know we talked about this. But,
I mean, it sounds familiar.
But it was, one of the suggestions was like, all right, so what we were talking about at the time was there is a serious price point problem where they're going to raise ticket prices so much that at what point are you just going to stop and say, you know what, I'd rather watch this at home with my giant fucking 4K TV that cost me $300 in the comfort of my home with my couch that cost me $1,200 that's on, a purchase plan. Like the price point problem. So one of the things was you've already got the facilities. You already have the literal, fucking map is there. You just, what do you do with it? What do you do with the actual thing?
Also, $1,200 for a couch. I got 2 couches on Facebook Marketplace for $40. What?
I was thinking one of those like corner thingies that people actually like put in
a sectional?
Fine. Yeah, sectional. That's the word. I'll never own one. They look comfy, But every time I'm in one, I'm like, I think I'm going to fall into this forever. I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, I don't like
it's not my style. Yeah. But I know they're very expensive for some reason. Mm-hmm. One of the things we talked about was, dude, at some point, like all that wasted time of that space just sitting open is like, just let me rent it. Like, what if I just want to sit with my friends and like watch the first 3 Harry Potter films or some shit, or just watch the first season of Daredevil or whatever. Like, why don't you just put on that damn digital projector, which is, by the way, also just a fucking copy of Windows, because I've literally seen the thing glitch out and it said DirectX 9 or 10 or whatever the hell it was on at the time. Like, it's a PC. So why not just fucking run wherever the fuck you felt what I paid you to run on that thing? I'll go in and I'll pay $14 for a shitty little piece of burger and we'll do this thing. But I'll just do it with my friends and we'll have a good time with it. And it'll be our own little screening. Like everything's a fucking Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like all the fun and glamour of like, let's do this and we're all a fun community kind of thing. But with just the people you want there and with whatever you want to cater to.
Yeah. Not some asshole who's unwilling to take his kid out of the screening while he's screaming at the top of his lungs.
Guy. Or like the last, maybe it wasn't the last time. It was one of the last 3 times I was in theater. I literally had to bark at a guy that was on the phone at some point in the last, I think it was Spider-Man. But it was like in the last 10 minutes of the movie or something. And the guy was still on the phone and I like barked at the guy. I was like, hey, do you think you're the only one here? Because you're not. And he put down his phone and I kind of like went back to watching. But it was like, that just kind of ruined the whole like climax of this movie for me.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like, I mean, and then I kind of had to like watch where that guy was leaving the theater because didn't want to actually have a confrontation. Yeah, just wanted to fucking tell him not to be a piece of shit in the fucking theater.
Yep.
Anyway,
all right, let's get back in. Let's get to Justice League. And by the way, Zack Snyder was on so much stuff this week. I know I'm missing stuff. I know I'm going to miss something. I know I am. Let me know. Ask me about it if you really want to know about it. I oh my God, there was so much.
Tell us about it.
Zack Snyder, he released a new Darkseid shirt to raise money for suicide prevention. It's a new campaign. It's got Darkseid. It's been it was designed by Alex Pardee, I believe. It says all of existence shall be mine. It is a white shirt. I wish it was on a different color shirt because I don't wear white. Or, ink to the people. Make a poster. Good Lord. I'd buy that poster. It looks awesome.
Oh, it looks fantastic.
I've considered getting the shirt and just framing the shirt.
Did you see the video of the making of that shirt?
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
I absolutely did, yeah.
Like, so many steps that are way beyond anything I would have ever even thought was a possibility.
Snyder told the supporters he wants to raise around $70,000 in sales, and that would put the Snyder Cut fans over the $500,000 mark in money raised for AFSP. I think earlier today when I checked it, it was $26,617 out of $70,000 have been raised. So, guys, go support that shit, dude. That's awesome. I'll probably wind up throwing some bones at it. Just a limited T-shirt. See, over at the League of Mayhem / Nerd Queens. I don't know why I wrote nerds. Zack Snyder showed up. He showed Martian Manhunter on his phone. I love Snyder sometimes, man, because he's like nothing official, just, whatever off the top of his head. Like, okay, well, I guess I'll pull it up on my phone and like show it to my webcam. But it looks badass. Did you see Martian Manhunter on this thing?
I did.
I mean, from what I can tell, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
It looks like it's just, concept art.
Yeah.
So far.
That's fine. I mean,
yeah.
It didn't look, it's not like we got a high def image or anything. It was just,
right.
Honestly, more the acknowledgement that it was there.
Yeah, it's happening. It's happening, guys. Come on.
That was the most important part for me.
He went on to be on the trailer with Grace Randolph, and he said it's true that Jared Leto is going to be in there. He's going to have a new look. He says, I wanted to, of course, honor what had been created with him because I thought it was really cool, but also in this, I'm not going to tell you what happens in the little scene, but some water has gone under the proverbial bridge between when last we saw Joker and this appearance. So he's a road-weary Joker. I guess that's a way of saying it. I am curious, though, if he'll have, like, the burned face like he did in Ayer's cut.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that. I should have asked that.
Honestly, the phrase road weary Joker is just deeply exciting.
Yeah. He says, I will say it was fun having a segment of the band together for this little vignette, if you will. Working with Jared was really amazing. His attention to detail. He really cares a lot about it being awesome. It was fun and everyone did an amazing job. Everyone, even trying to shoot in COVID is a bit of a deal, but everyone brought like a huge A game and really wanted to be cool. And I couldn't be happier with what those guys did. Now it seems like all the, based across all the different interviews, all the different shows that he's been on this week. Mm-hmm. It seems like all of the additional footage is probably going to be a nightmare sequence. Like we saw Leto on Instagram or whatever it was, and he still had long hair, clean shaven face, long hair. So I'm wondering if the Joker doesn't have long hair in this thing. We have Joe Manganiello and Snyder on the Film Junkie totally screwed up and made some comment about like post-apocalyptic Deathstroke or something. Like very heavily insinuated that that's what was going to be going on. We know Batfleck came back. We know Amber Heard's around for that. So like I'm just guessing we know that he did additional photography with Ezra Miller, but Ezra was on Fantastic Beasts, and he directed him over Zoom. Like they set up like 3 cameras, 3 monitors, and for Zach to be able to look at as they like the Fantastic Beasts people directed the scene with him or shot it as he directed it.
Oh,
that's really cool.
fantastic.
That is really cool.
Adapt and overcome kind of shit.
But yeah, on the Vodka Stream Film Junkie, Snyder said that Leto's Joker was not originally part of the Snyder Cut. He says there was a few things that I had thought about doing, that I had thought about grabbing in post. There was a number of things I had drawn. A couple of them I wasn't able to do, but it's fine. I'm completely satisfied. I like how he feels like he has to say that because he's like, the Snyder fandom's like, no, you have to have exactly what you want to get. No, I'm completely satisfied. Let's not go crazy, guys.
Yeah.
He said, but this was one of the things that in the years since I've kind of boiled on and kind of said like, this would be a cool thing to do. I'll be honest, I never thought the opportunity would come, and thanks to the fans, of course, and this whole journey has happened, which is insane. And it is insane. He says in the end, he told Grace Randolph, in the end, it's probably going to be about 4 minutes or 5 minutes of additional photography. In the 4 hours that is Justice League, it is 4 minutes. But, you can get a lot done in 4 minutes, man.
Yeah, you really can.
I mean, you remember that, I don't know if you ever saw it. There was a Power Rangers. Some guy made I don't even remember his name, but some guy made this
the super violent one.
Yes, this fantastic, and it was like 6 minutes long.
Like
it was
Jason dies in like 5 seconds.
Yes,
yeah,
and it was like a fantastic, like gritty, like 6 minute short film that just like freaking James Vanderbeek was in it, and what's her face who plays Amunet Black, Katie Sackhoff was Kimberly, and it was just fantastic. She was great. Like, that was the first time I went, oh, okay. Like,
I think that ended with, Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy was fighting Rocky, who was James Vanderbeek, and he was like, no, Kimberly died in my arms. Who are you? And it was Rita pretending to be, but it was so good. It looked so good. Anyway, that's all that to say, you can get a lot done in 5 minutes.
Yeah, like I remember a couple people just dying in a truck because they couldn't they just literally couldn't get to their gun fast enough, and it was like an entire SWAT crew kind of thing. Like, who was the one that died just in his dojo?
Oh, that was Zach. Yeah, the hip hop keto.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Which is I think the original actor who played Zach in the old Power Rangers show he created that shit.
Nice.
But anyway, a lot can be accomplished in a short amount of time. And, Snyder says it's only 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. And I'm like, I know that you can get a lot accomplished, but can Snyder?
Okay.
Love Zack Snyder. But
you're right. He does like to slow things down cinematically sometimes. To his credit, I think a lot of that has to do with like letting a beat have some time, like letting stuff sink in. I think there's a lot to be found there. But if you asked me for a bet on the matter, I feel like he he had X amount of time and money to get some extra stuff done that he's been thinking about for a while. And I also know he can get a lot done in a small amount of time.
Oh, so, he can. He can. I'm just playing. Snyder knows how to do shit.
There's probably a lot to be said in those extra few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd probably be an entire episode's worth in 5 minutes, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
He did tell Grace Randolph, he says, I think Ben forgot how uncomfortable it is to be in that Batman suit, but that's fine. And he was incredibly gracious. And again, it's funny how he just snaps,
Yeah.
Back into the role, essentially.
Yeah.
He said a couple of the costumes had been in archives for a while. They were all over the place in museums and stuff. We had to tear them out of there. I think one of the cowls was put on. It just kind of ripped in half. That's just all really cool to me. I love that kind of shit.
Didn't they do this with even with Matt Ryan's Constantine, where they're like, where the hell is it? And it was like, for some reason it's in Canada. Okay, well, get the hell down here. Where's the jacket? God damn it. Get it down here.
Why wouldn't it be in Canada? That's my question. Everything's in Vancouver.
It wasn't even in Vancouver. It was like, I don't know where it was, but it was like,
yeah.
I feel like I remember hearing that the jacket was in storage so-and-so. And they just were like, well, ship it down. And they fluffed it out and I'm like, well, it's fine. Great. Excellent. Throw it on.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. So, on the Nerd Queens cast, he was talking about, between his own writing and talking with Ray Porter, who played Darkseid, he's written and does have plans for what happens when Darkseid comes to Earth. Mm-hmm. So he does have a plan for basically Justice League 2 and 3, possibly, even though he doesn't he's not planning that. He doesn't expect it. But I feel like that might be something of a contractual obligation. He just can't say it right now. He knows what he's going to do. We know he knows what he's going to do because we've heard him talk about it.
Yeah. The
whole, everything leading up to the death of Batman and whatever it is, part 3, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we know he's got plans for all that.
I also kind of appreciate that he's trying to just tell a story in case.
Yeah.
Because after all this time, a little bit of closure kind of would be nice.
Mm-hmm. I think this whole thing will end roughly where the theatrical ended. I still think
roughly,
that.
Yes. Yeah, I do believe that is probably what do you call Act 3 in a 4-hour thing that's going to be spread over 1 hour viewing increments? But
he said this thing is six chapters and an epilogue over 4 episodes.
All right, so I think in that description, I want to say chapter 6 is probably we're going to be roughly in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Epilogue, I don't know about that. The epilogue is that's where I would be like, I don't think I know anything from the theatrical cut that I think I'm going to know after having seen his epilogue.
I mean, I think we're going to be in a better place to understand the characters. I think we're going to be I think it's going to be overall a much more masterful take on the material. Mm-hmm. Clearly not as rushed.
Yeah.
Is what Zach wants. So I'm happy with that because, I mean, shit, dude, we've seen his Man of Steel. We've seen his BVS. I want to see his Justice League for God's sake. But
absolutely.
And yes, I want to see beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
We've made no bones about that. By the way, during one of these live streams, and I don't remember which one it was. I didn't write it down for some reason, but someone suggested Carla Gugino as Catwoman, and he was like, probably I would say Carla's perfect. Carla's Catwoman. You would have to say there's a flashback to 10 years ago where Batman and Catwoman were a thing, and then he would have had to arrest her. I don't know what happened, or he had to let her go, and it tweaked him. And now who knows what she's doing now? She's running some sort of international antiquities or something, and he needs to retire, and they find each other. Yeah, I do think Carla is. Yeah, she's good.
Mm-hmm.
But she was just doing ADR for the Kryptonian computer because that was her voice, if you didn't know, in Man of Steel and BVS. And, she was in Watchmen and she was in Sucker Punch, which, by the way, I think it was during the Film Junkie. I've watched all of these. I can't remember. I've been watching all this shit all week. Uh-huh. He said that Sucker Punch, I think it was the Film Junkie. Yeah. Vodka Stream. He said that as soon as they get the license back to release a new version of Sucker Punch, they are going to do a director's cut of Sucker Punch, which I am over the moon excited about because I love Sucker Punch. I love the extended edition. I love the theatrical edition. I thought it was very underrated. I thought it was really imaginative. It has a lot to say about psychology. It has a lot to say about the human condition. I think it's great. Can't wait to see a director's cut on that. Did you ever watch Sucker Punch?
No, I'm down though. One of those movies that I tried to watch in college with a badly pirated version, and
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that story anyway.
Yeah, it's. I could go back for that at some point. Like, that's something we could give a viewing at some point.
Yeah, well, yeah. Whenever they do a director's cut of that, we should talk about it on the Procreate, not Procreate. What's it called? Patreon. Procreate's what I use to draw shit in.
Procreate a Patreon.
Procreate is the program I enjoy drawing things in on my iPad. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
It's. Mm-hmm. Also, still not how I recognize that word, but okay.
You have a child, I don't.
I have.
Alrighty. So, over the past week, he said that Snyder says he saw a tweet recently, like, Snyder needs to stop reading Dark Knight Returns. He needs to read another Batman comic. I almost tweeted back. I'm sure Jay Oliva replied, like, there aren't any others. He says, I'm so obsessed with that comic. I've always thought that maybe one day down the road as a one-off, just as a crusty old Batman, we just do it. It's a dream I have. Dude, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wear it out.
Let's get your DCEU days done.
Yeah.
I'd love to see all that realized, but then just kind of circle back around, and do Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah. Wear it the fuck out.
On the vodka stream with Dave the Film Junkie, he says there's a Robin line, like there's a Robin Easter egg in Justice League that I think you'll have to wait and see. I can't say exactly. And then he said, would there be a plan to have more Robin in whatever future story? There would be. I mean, to me, the way you do a Robin story in the Justice League universe with Batman is like drinking and remembering, and we see what happened. Mm-hmm. We understand who Robin was to him, and we get to experience what was the circumstances for the Joker and Robin coming together. And he also, intimated that like the way you get to BVS Batman is for it to have been Dick Grayson. It's not like a secondary Robin or whatever. Nope, this was the one guy.
This wasn't an understudy. This was Dick Grayson.
Right.
I do like that. As an overall point in his series, I do kind of love that there's a little bit of an addiction aspect to Bruce Wayne now. Mm-hmm. Like he is taking some pills every morning. Yeah, like there's the bottle of wine when he wakes up, and maybe even a little bit of budding alcoholism there, and that the root of that is going to be Dick Grayson.
Yep.
I love that as a story idea for a lot of reasons.
Oh yeah, and that was that was also what was heavily
just
implied.
Numbing the emotional and, dear my God, physical pain.
That's what was heavily implied in Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
That it was something that had happened with Dick.
Yeah.
Of course, we know it got weird in Strikes Again, but whatever.
Yeah.
Before we totally move on from Film Junkie, which was a lot of fun, and all of these shows were a lot of fun, and I'm gonna put links to all of these casts in our show notes and on our website, dconscreen.com.
Yeah.
During the Film Junkie cast, though, Wonder Meg from the Nerd Queens selected a question of mine to be asked. She said my name to Zack Snyder.
Yeah. She said it wrong, but I was very impressed.
Did she?
I think she said Robertson.
No, I don't think she did.
Did she?
I think she said it right.
Nice. Okay. Sorry.
If I'm wrong, hey, you guys whoever's listening will be able to tell, because she asked Zack Snyder the question. He was good enough to answer it. Mm-hmm. Dave, Film Junkie, was gracious enough to allow us to play that on the show. So here's that clip now.
Nice.
But we're going to bring Wonder Meg back in here. Do you have another quick question here from the live chat?
I do. This comes from David Robertson. Has there ever been talk of a Man of Steel director's cut?
No. There's only a few scenes. That was like one of those movies that, for me, few and far between, maybe Guardians of Gaul and Man of Steel are two movies that I made that were pretty much, and I would actually Army, where it was exactly what I wanted to do. It just worked out that those were the that was the length of the movie, and it's not a short movie either, Man of Steel, by the way.
Not at all.
Good. But it flows. It flows.
Yes.
There was only a few scenes that we deleted, but it wasn't anything I think that would change the movie. So no. So the real answer is no. That movie is pretty much, it is what it is, and I love it, and it's kind of exactly the size that it was for me, that I wanted it to be.
Cool. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Meg.
Man, it was a question I've always wondered, and I kind of kicked myself a little bit because I was like, I should have I've looked into it before, and I've never found a definitive answer from Zack Snyder anywhere. I've heard fans say, no, it's not going to happen. It's what he wanted. I'm like, okay, well, but, and then I looked back at it later because I get in my own head about this shit, and I still couldn't find an actual quote from him. And guess what? Actual news sites have now referenced it as a talking point, as an article. So, as Matthew Salvatore said on Twitter, I'm part of the source now too.
No, you get partial credit on that one for sure. Absolutely.
And I'm happy though, because we'd never have to have is Man of Steel director's cut coming out. We never have to have that conversation.
Is this what he wanted? No, yeah, that was it.
But sincerest thanks to Zack Snyder for answering that question, and for doing so without making me feel stupid, to Wonder Meg for choosing that question to ask him. And, of course, Dave, the film junkie himself, for allowing us to play that clip on our show, and for hosting the man. And for all the work you did to get to that point where you could. It's impressive
Absolutely.
as hell.
I remember watching that part because I watched that interview in parts live as it streamed, and it was at the hours of the day where I was trying to go in and out of getting the kid to sleep and everything, but that was one of the parts where I was in bed and actually able to pay attention, and it was this question from Dave. I know that guy. I know that guy. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So anyway, Snyder told Ping Pong Flicks, I don't have any expectation that there would be any more movies than Justice League. If that happened, that would be amazing, but that bridge is far away. Frankly, I'm cool. So I don't necessarily believe him, but I think he knows something.
He might. I mean, given what we talked about earlier with the Wonder Woman thing, the HBO is going to be privy to their own figures. They're going to know, how many eyes are actually glued to what they're doing and over what period of time. They'll have their own metrics. And if this shows enough potential, man, fuck, yeah, they might be able to do it. Now, granted, I don't know. I know HBO and all the internals, getting the film itself isn't going to be a huge multi-picture kind of thing or anything, but it's not going to be a huge financial. I'm losing words. It's not going to cost them a ton to get the movie that they already own, but to have put the what was the original figure, 20 to 30 million, and the guy kind of scoffed and said, I wish it was that. Let's just call it 8 figures of getting this film to where they want it to be to release it.
Yeah.
It will cost significantly more than that to do it again if we're going to have another Justice League series or movie or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, but
but they'll have their metrics to compare to, and they'll be their metrics. No bones about it. No dealing with Nielsen bullshit. Nothing.
But a part of that is not just completing photography, doing the additional photography. That was a small portion, but to actually have,
a lot of it was in post-production, frankly.
Yeah, a lot of it's going to be VFX. A lot of it's paying all the rights, paying to all the people who were cut out of the theatrical cut, paying for all those actors,
getting Junkie XL back.
Tons of shit going on there.
Yeah.
So if they can negotiate lower prices for certain things, for certain actors, to finish it up, which because it's Zack, I think they probably could. There's
some wiggle room there, but to do it from scratch and do another 4 hours, just the next installation is going to cost significantly more.
It'll be like a movie.
Feels like a good figure to start with.
I would think so. Yeah. But anyway,
if the metrics are there, there's no reason to think it can't happen. Just we should all do our part and watch the shit out of it. 12 or 13 times.
Look, Zack said he said on a few of these now, and I think he did it. I think he said it on Film Junkie, where he said that, you know, he couldn't wait for us to see it in IMAX. Like, they're planning some kind of theatrical something or another. Like, and he wants to do like monochrome glory, dude. He wants to do black and white. Like, he started like doing a version of this where this like specifically graded to be black and white as well.
Oh, it's monochrome glory, I think is how I phrased it.
Yep. So like, I don't think HBO Max is the end of this thing by a damn sight. And as we talked about last week, you know, and several outlets pointed this out as well. You don't throw $70 million to finish up a director's cut. Those bastards want to be in the Zack Snyder business. That man is making Army of the Dead, a prequel series, and an anime series over on Netflix. And he's got a freaking another anime series that's like, he's building franchises over at Netflix. So AT&T is like, you're a bunch of idiots. We're getting him back. And if that means we're going to finish up Justice League, that's what we're doing. Zack Snyder, class act that he is, though, told Ping Pong Flick, told Chris over there, he said, you know, whether or not he personally directs another DC film, he's excited to see movies succeeding using the characters that he helped cast. He says, listen, you have Wonder Woman, you have Aquaman, you have this new Flash movie. All of these are branches from a tree that I planted a long time ago. I couldn't be prouder. I couldn't be more excited about what is happening with Wonder Woman 1984. It's amazing. Those talented people. Patty is a genius and Gal is the greatest Wonder Woman ever. Anytime those guys add a chapter to the world is great. But for me, I have a very singular vision of how my track is supposed to go. So like, he's not begrudging them their storytelling, which is nice. And you know, he's done things a little differently than they have, or vice versa. Yeah. We'll talk about that in just a second. Now, you've seen this? He put out this. To be fair, first of all, Fabian Wagner, however you say his name, the DP for Justice League, he's been putting out behind the scenes photos, like all beautiful stuff all week. And then Zach posted this picture of Steppenwolf. It looks fantastic. I'm sorry. Like, I'm seeing, like, all the Snyder haters have been coming out today talking about how it looks like shit and how do you get from Jack Kirby's original design. Look, man, I love Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby was one of the greats. Okay. Jack Kirby did so much for the comic book industry. We wouldn't be anywhere without Jack Kirby. If I could, I'd find him and give him all the money in my wallet and give him a hug as well. But his Steppenwolf design was shit.
No,
his Steppenwolf design was like a dude with a mustache and goatee who was wearing like a Sleepy Time pointy hat.
I'm recycling some of the phrasing I used on Twitter at some point, but it's basically a lumberjack with a Merlin hat.
That's exactly. So, I mean, look, man, you created the whole
It is
fourth
not
world.
the most visually enticing thing that Jack Kirby did. And this is, by the way, someone who is known for making the format visually enticing.
Yeah. Like,
and it still didn't take care.
This isn't even like a thing where like, well, I mean, you can't really say that because it was of its time. No, it wasn't of its time.
I can, and I'll put this up against it. Kirby's granny goodness is more compelling. And if you listen to me, you know how hard that is for me to say.
He hates granny goodness, y'all.
God damn it.
Look, he created that dude, Jack Kirby created the entire fourth world, all right? Like,
that guy looks like a fucking hobo with a vengeance. That's the best way you could describe Steppenwolf.
He's like a sleepy
trash
wizard
character with a dunce hat.
Yep, he looks rough.
An angry triangle with a beard.
And I've seen a fair amount of Marvel fans out there who are like, well, of course Zack Snyder apparently always wanted to do it because the Thanos goons were all like weird looking rock creatures too. Shut up. You're an idiot. Okay. Because this shit, like, go back and look at BVS. This version of Steppenwolf was in the communion scene. We have concept art that dates back that far. Predates all the shit from Endgame. Kiss my ass. And also, you Marvel stands out there. Look, I love Marvel. Okay. I'm not mad at someone for liking Marvel, but
we only get mad generally when you try to make a comparison that comes from like a hate standpoint. Like,
the MCU tug nuts out there who, for some reason, believe that everything had to have come from the MCU. No one could have come up with an original idea. And then they also want to play this game where they like, how do you get this from the source material with DC? And just showing you a picture of Jack Kirby's Steppenwolf versus Snyder's. Mm-hmm. Dude, kiss my ass, all right? You know how much the MCU has like absolutely fucked with what the comics did? Like, no, man, just take your bullshit somewhere else.
Yeah.
Man, all this is open to artistic license, and
a lot of these costumes are 60 plus years old. And hey, fun fact, the originals look crazy, by the way.
And yeah, these are the same people though, that if Snyder did like a one-to-one
like
comparison,
personified geometry with a superpower, a lot of these original costumes.
If Snyder took the old Jack Kirby Steppenwolf with his dunce cap and created him verbatim in, in cinematic scale, these same people would be like, imagine a creator thinking they didn't have the right for artistic license. I mean, you gotta update shit. Look at the MCU. Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Anyway.
I mean, the comparisons are unnecessary. This Steppenwolf looks fantastic. Like, this Steppenwolf looks like he's ready for war and all the love in the world. The original Steppenwolf looks like I should ask him where to find the best IPA in town.
He does.
And he'd be right, in all fairness.
Like, the original Steppenwolf looks like he's the type of guy to, like, tip his cap and go, "Milady."
Like, he's going to tell me you need to go to Cahaba, Avondale Ghost Train Brewery, and he'd be right about it.
So, I mean, look, man, this, oh my God. Did you hear Snyder talking about this armor? How it's like reactive and it's like organic and it like at some point it catches a freaking Amazonian arrow?
I caught probably 60%, I want to say, of that feed. And one of the parts that I really got to listen to and feed on was just, like, this is deeply cool. Like the spikiness, the fact that the armor moves with him, like it's neurologically connected to his will. Is that's
even his will, his like emotional state, man. It's like that's really cool. That's super cool.
Like it reminded me a little bit of like the Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, kind of like the cloak.
Yeah,
what's that cloak called? Where like it protects him despite his best efforts, kind of thing.
I don't know, the cloak. Look, man, I was never a big Doctor Strange guy in the first place. I liked the movie. I liked him in Endgame and Infinity War. That's about where it ends.
Yeah, I enjoyed the shit out of the movie. I know we've talked about him before the movie came out, but
we have.
It still
I have a cursory knowledge about. I remembered the Eye of Agamotto. That was about it.
Yeah, it's gonna end up being like the Eye of Agamemnon or some shit just to piss us off. But
I don't think it was an Infinity Stone in the comics.
No, I don't think so either. But the idea that the armor is somehow sentient is really fucking cool. And I also believe the animators heard that and thought, yeah, that's cool. I'm going to get a divorce. There's no way I can keep up with this. This is going to cost me my life. Mm-hmm. Great idea.
Yep.
Thank you. And also fuck you.
Yep. Somewhere someone is signing some papers they didn't ever want to have to sign.
And like a lot of divorce papers are like irreconcilable differences. And a lot of them are, there's going to be like 2 or 3 people that are like, Steppenwolf's new fucking armor. I mean, the hell do you want me to do? It's sentient, spiky armor. I hope she finds a new love.
Yeah. I mean, Steppenwolf's one of those guys that, like, when I saw Superman the Animated Series, after having watched Batman the Animated Series and knowing how much they tweaked so many of those villains to make them viable. Mm-hmm. When Steppenwolf showed up in Superman the Animated Series, I went, really, guys? You left him that way?
It's one of the interesting parts is like Kirby's conceptually there was so much going on there, and visually Kirby was so fucking good. And then this is one of those parts. It still baffles me that conceptually the fourth world is so interesting. Like even including the swapping offspring kind of thing to keep peace. Like there was so much there that was fun. And granted, that actually, like, that's a real thing. Like, even Vlad the Impaler was part of the Turkish Empire for a while. Like, that's historically grounded. But, the story was so good. And visually, a lot of it, I couldn't fuck off harder. I mean, it's one of the strange little spots in Jack Kirby's history where I was like, I can't follow you here.
Yeah. Well, look, man, if you guys...
He gave us so fucking much, though.
I
feel bad even saying it.
I know. Look, and I feel bad saying the original Steppenwolf looks like shit, okay? If any of you people out there, you're like, how dare you besmirch the name of Jack Kirby? I get it. Mm-hmm, and if you say, I liked the design of Steppenwolf, I don't get it, but I respect your opinion. Mm-hmm. I respect you for having a thing that you're standing up for. I disagree wholeheartedly.
I mean, he looked like a combination of Robo Wars and a caution triangle, one of those little caution cones.
But, man, this is, at the very least, the coolest Steppenwolf I've ever seen.
Oh, this? Yeah, barring none.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
And it boggles my mind. I saw someone, I don't remember who, they ran a...
Could you imagine punching this thing? God damn.
I don't want to. Did you see someone on
like, if
Twitter,
I wanted to have some fries, I could just throw potatoes at it.
Someone on Twitter posted a picture of freaking Quicksilver with all the holes through him laying there bleeding out on the concrete in Age of Ultron, and it said me after I gave Steppenwolf a hug.
Yeah. All right. Also, who was that weird guy in like X-Men 3?
That guy that was on Lost that had like the porcupine quills.
The porcupine abilities? Yeah, like he hugs the doctor and like...
Yeah. Yeah.
And even when he was like, I was like, yeah, that's like 1.5 long. Okay. I hope you got her in the jugular or some shit when you were hugging her.
Oh, God. Yeah. But yeah, like, it boggles my mind because somebody on Instagram, one of these comic book websites, did a poll that said, settle the debate. And it was Steppenwolf versus Steppenwolf. It was Snyder's versus Whedon's. And like something like 13% still chose Whedon's. And I was like, how do you people exist? Like,
look, it's still possible, man. I mean,
it's like the people who will sit there and look at a can of Coke and a can of Pepsi and choose Pepsi.
Liked Pepsi. In the days where I could still drink sodas, I enjoyed Pepsi.
Okay, let me make it easier then. It's like if someone said, choose which one is better, and there's like a plate of pancakes or, a tin of dog poop.
I don't think it's going to come across that way, though. Like, if you just visually looked at either, you'd be like, well, I mean, they're both workable. That's fine. But I think that's what happened in terms of management was, management saw a version of this and said, well, that's imposing. Yeah, throw it on screen.
Yeah.
And it wasn't...
Well, we thought Snyder's version was too scary.
There was that. I get it. I'm going to pull up... let me just pull up Steppenwolf. I have to keep spelling it because... androids refuse to learn the they refuse to learn the word apparently. 2017 Steppenwolf images. All right, so the problem is he doesn't look bad outright. It's just that he also kind of looks like a bad Doctor Who villain, or at least someone who is and does smirk at you constantly.
Yeah,
which is not necessarily a good look.
No, it's like Brian Cox or some shit.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Yeah.
And people familiar with this podcast know of my disdain for Brian Cox. I don't necessarily even think he's a bad actor. I just don't like him.
I love that some people might accidentally think you're talking about the British scientist.
Oh, no. I'm talking about the original Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, I know. I just like the sidebar.
Manhunter, y'all.
Yeah, one of the biggest distinctions is that the Snyder Steppenwolf looks like he belongs there, and the other guy looks like he got there and knows he shouldn't be there, but is waiting for you to prove him wrong, I guess. Like, yeah, no, maybe. I don't know. I guess. It's funny. You can kind of look at the outline of him and just see where they made different choices with the... like, they de-spiked him in certain ways, and, the horned chin is still there, and... all that. It doesn't come across the same.
The camel toe chin?
The camel toe chin is still there. I don't know. That's more of a scarab situation, I guess.
All right. So, Zack Snyder...
It's very much like, did you see the change in Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yes.
Yeah. That may be the best example I can give.
Yeah. That was one of those like positive things where like the fan base just like, no. Just no.
Yeah.
And they went, oh. Well, I mean, how serious is this for you? It's a deal breaker. Oh.
It's precisely how I would describe that conversation. And it's one of the few times where I'd be like, you know what? most of the time, seriously, we would defend like, look, the creator gets to create.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the times where the fans went, you know what? But there's a breaking point, and Twig Leg Sonic ain't working for me.
Yeah, whatever that weirdly muscular human version of Sonic the Hedgehog they tried to pass off for just a second. Just no, thank you. Which I never saw the thing anyway. Like
I did actually watch the movie.
Oh, that's good. How was Jim Carrey? He looked fantastic.
Oh, he was amazing. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like the rest of the film is so hilariously like formulaic that there's zero expectations were broken in the filming or in the viewing of this film.
Yeah, which is sad because when you look at that, when you look at the Sonic the Hedgehog games, they are inventive as hell. Like
hell yeah.
I don't want to see Sonic the Hedgehog running around in our world. I want to see Sonic the Hedgehog running around in his world. His world was really cool.
What you get at the end of it is like, I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those, and those movies where the theme and the plot point in like Act 1, it's not even a Chekhov's gun kind of situation. It's like a Chekhov's fucking tank staring at your fucking face the entire time thing.
Okay.
Like the thing they bring up in the first act and the mechanism they bring up in the first act are like, okay, well, I know how this movie resolves. I don't. I'm going to watch the rest of this for funsies, but I'm pretty sure I know how this wraps up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do, and intermittently, there's Jim Carrey being fucking amazing.
Sure,
because he is, inherently capable, and it felt like the director was like, I can't believe I got to actually shoot him do this. Oh my god! And then they left him on screen as long as they possibly could. It seemed like.
Well, yeah, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
All right,
At some point, I think there's like 3 minutes of him dancing around, and it doesn't make sense for the movie, but it's still just one of the best things that's happening in that 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, I've gotten that off my chest.
Let's talk about this quote unquote new trailer. It was just really just the old trailer with some differences, like the Warner Media. It says Warner Media Company instead of the Warner Max logo.
Mm-hmm.
We get Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman looking at the Superman hologram that Snyder says that Cyborg is projecting.
Mm-hmm.
And we get Aquaman. In the original version, Aquaman disrobes a bit more. But, they had to, like, make room for things. We get a new shot of neighborhood kids playing basketball on the street. We get, Cyborg watching them, like, stalkery Cyborg watching them from his little apartment.
Yeah.
That
was kind of sad.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminded me, there's a song by REM called The Wrong Child. It's just a really sad song about a kid who's sick and just sits in his room and watches the kids play outside or whatever.
Mm-hmm. It's a good moment, man. I mean,
yeah. We get Darkseid with his arms outstretched. It replaces an old shot of Darkseid from afar. It looks like it's just like a few seconds later though, but it's like Darkseid with his arms outstretched. Darkseid, his arms wide, shaka when the walls fell.
Mm-hmm.
Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. We have the priest of the mother box behind him, and like we have like the lava patterns on the ground. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, Snyder in his breakdown said the patterns of lava in the dirt were visualizations of the anti-life equation that would have to be deciphered to be put into practice, which is really freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
We have new shots of the Batmobile just like plowing through some parademons, just shooting the hell out of them. They traded out
going straight
shot.
Rambo on that. Like, love it.
Yep. They traded out a shot of Hippolyta, like, coming into that room and instead with the mother box and instead just like has her being attacked and attacking.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he did a Q&A / breakdown on Vero. And again, I'm putting links to all this in the show notes. They're like 5 hours or more.
Oh yeah.
Of just Snyder talking about this stuff.
It was a very heavy week for that.
And he reiterated that he looks forward to developing the entire thing in monochrome. He talked about the patterns of lava being the anti-life equation. He says the Joker card in the nightmare sequence that we see right in front of the Hall of Justice is the same one that was taped to Batman's gun on BVS.
Love that. Especially given the stuff he talked about with a worn Joker.
Mm-hmm. Road weary.
Mm-hmm.
Mad Max Joker.
Honestly, that concept has fascinated me for days now.
Mm-hmm. He clarified that the area where the Superman hologram is being projected is Wayne Aerospace. It is not the Batcave.
Yeah.
And he was even a little pissy about it, which was funny to me because he was like, people keep saying it's the Batcave.
How the hell people got this?
He's like, there are windows.
There are windows in the Batcave.
I'm not sure how people thought it was the Batcave.
Yeah, it cracked me up too.
He's like, I've been very clear on this. Like, all right.
Hey, look, man, hype happens.
But the other thing that happens is you were standing in a space shooting a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those aren't just blurry lights in the background.
Yeah.
We, however, saw a gray background with technological stuff in the background and thought, like,
yeah.
For someone who wasn't in the physical space, and I know because, it's interesting. I haven't made anything like Snyder has, but, we've shot stuff. We have videos on YouTube, and like people that I know will watch it and they'll be like, well, this and this and this. I'm like, well, no, that's not what happened and then I'm like, oh yeah, I was standing in the room. So I just took it as an axiom that it would be understood how this was blocked out.
Yeah.
Anyway. But then again, I'm not Snyder. I'm not dealing with these questions day in and day out on Vero where people are just like demanding answers like they're studio heads themselves.
Yeah. Very different situation.
So, I ain't hating on Snyder for it. Like, you be pissy all you want, bud. You've earned it. Now, here's an interesting thing, though, is the Kryptonian pod he mentioned. He went out of his way, it seemed like, to mention it. And maybe I think someone may have asked. But he did choose to answer that question. He did choose to answer that question.
Yeah.
And he said, if you remember in Man of Steel, someone clearly got out of the pod. Like, there was a pod where there wasn't a corpse inside of it. Someone clearly got out. So who that is remains a mystery to this day. So we'll see. Dude, he knows. He knows who got out of that pod.
Was he calling him like the Catch or something? Someone will remind me. He was calling him some word that I want to say it was like the Catch or whatever, but it was.
I know what you're talking about.
It was the pod. It was the little concave area where all these things were. And he referenced one where it was like, yeah, but this looks super broken, and you can almost see like a desiccated form or something. Yeah. And then the other one is like, he goes out of his way, like you said, to say like, yeah, but this one's just fucking open. And
which, I don't know.
The question I think was like, are there any more Kryptonians on Earth? And he says, well, that's interesting. And goes into it.
And he wouldn't answer it, but I think.
But he kind of went out of his way to not answer it.
Yeah. Like sometimes with Snyder, you got to like pay attention to what he doesn't answer, but more than what he does. But, I don't know if you remember this, but
I doubt it.
There was a Man of Steel prequel comic. I think Walmart put it out or somebody.
Yeah, at all.
And it goes in, like David Goyer wrote it, and it goes into who was in that pod. And it was Kara Zor-El in that pod.
Oh, sweet.
And they sort of ended it on sort of a cliffhanger, but it was like thousands of years ago on Earth that they landed. So
you got to think maybe there's like a Legion lead up. It's somewhere in the back of Snyder's mind. Like, yeah, well,
maybe, but at the same time, he and Goyer didn't agree on everything.
Oh yeah, no. And as we've suggested, I don't think they should have.
No, not the biggest fan of Goyer.
So, not our favorite.
And if I'm being honest,
lots of good there, but
the comic that he wrote with Kara Zor-El was boring. Which is usually my problem with David Goyer, is I find him boring. So, hey man, I'm sure he's a nice guy somehow. I don't know.
He has his name.
I said that, and then I remember
several
some
things
of
though that like we ended up finding interesting. I just I never know where to put him, man. I don't. Sometimes I'm deeply interested, and sometimes I just don't understand how he got there.
I'm like, I'm sure he's a nice guy. As I'm saying that, I'm remembering like things that he said pretentious bullshit he said, like about Martian Manhunter, like Batman v Superman is where you go when you don't have any ideas left. And I'm like, yeah, probably not.
No.
Too nice of a guy.
Also, historically, Batman vs Superman happened because Snyder accidentally mentioned the idea, and the studio just wouldn't hear anything other than that after it was on the table.
Well, also, they couldn't get away from it either. Everyone wanted, like, once you say Batman's name, you can't get away from it because it's Batman.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't know what to tell you.
What I can tell you is it's been a long 8 years.
Mm-hmm. I can't imagine
scars.
I can't imagine an episode of DC On Screen not mentioning the name Zack Snyder at this point. By the way, did you see in Film... sorry, I'm going back to this. I'm treading back. Mm-hmm. But on Film Junkie, dude talked about Scott Snyder and how much he's loving what Zack Snyder is writing.
Yes, I did see that. And
then Scott Snyder, like, responded to it on Twitter, like, dude, I would love to see Scott Snyder and Zack Snyder come together. Let's do Dark Knight's Metal. Let's do it. Like, finish up Justice League and let's do Metal.
Since I saw those two things, something around the area of 99.7% of my thoughts have been consumed by that idea.
Yeah.
It is. Were I allowed to dream? That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, I know in my bones, Snyder, who he's one of those people that, like, I've seen, like, I know he has a visual aesthetic and it's fantastic. And I do feel like visually he could pull off a lot of what Greg Capullo is pulling off in his drawings, and that there's a lot of draw for that. But I also...
A lot of draw for that?
Yeah, sorry. Didn't mean to. There's... Both Snyders, frankly, are people that I feel like if I was like just on a subway for 30 minutes and were just bullshitting about music, would have a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. There's so much aesthetic crossover with what they're doing. I mean, I would wet myself if they actually launched that project. And I know I feel like a broken record when I say this, but I can't. I mean, after what they did on Watchmen, just let Reznor and Atticus Ross get in on that soundtrack with Junkie. It'll be amazing.
Yeah.
It'll be fucking amazing.
Yeah. I want Wonder Woman with the chainsaw and the lasso of truth starting the chainsaw. I want all of it. I want all of it.
Yeah, those are the actual treads of the chainsaw is the lasso of truth. Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yeah, the hilt of that thing is the fucking sword. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the entire thing, I can't say enough. I mean, every issue of that I sit down and just read twice, just on, like, flip through, get to the end, turn back to the first page and go again every single time. I'm having so much fun with that series.
I totally just, like, I imagine Zack reading Dark Knight's Metal, mouth agape, just,
like,
no.
When can I get to this? Even if they did it animated with Oliva, like, that
dude.
too. Yes, absolutely that,
like,
too. Yes, and please.
Yeah, HBOMAX, do it. Zack and Scott Snyder anime.
Yeah.
Oh,
fuck yes.
Oh man, just all the hells yes. I mean, I would take the animated, but I mean, I really want to see Gal with that chainsaw.
I know.
Anyway,
I know. There's so many other things. Like, there's so many other things I want to tell you that are in that. Every major character has some fun derivation right now. That's just, are you fucking kidding me? That is so much fun.
I mean, judging by Batfleck in the nightmare sequence, I totally want to see him in that, like, freaking Lobo geared riding that whatever that giant back skeleton motorcycle is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, Lobo got his own.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
the Batman Who Frags. Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah, the Batman Who Frags.
Mm-hmm. I'm aware. That's just fantastic. Like, dude, I have been following this through the news. So, like,
so you know, Superman has a Darkseid arm.
No, I didn't know that part.
he gets trapped and used as a sun as a power source. And
so good.
Part of that is like he starts developing some of the physiology, and it's a Darkseid arm. So his, I think it's his right arm or whatever, is got that like chitinous Darkseid rock look kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I got to get to that.
There's a thing I just keep wanting to tell you about Batman. Gotta keep wanting to tell you.
I mean, look, man, we got people who haven't, I know them. They have not read Metal yet. So you can tell me off air. I don't care. Pretty much everything I've heard, every spoiler, everything I've heard has just made me want to read it more. So you tell me off air. Also, going along back into the breakdown.
I'm just going to message you in the background while we're talking. Go ahead.
That's fine. So Zack doesn't like Barry being able to easily move people when he's in the Speed Force. He feels like it would rip their arm out of their socket or at that speed or rip the flesh right off their body. And he says it's important. He has to be really careful because of the physics. He also answered the question of what happened to Barry's shoes. I have never noticed in the scene that Barry didn't have shoes anymore.
I didn't either, but that was a lot of fun.
And Zack said they
his
exploded.
explanation was a lot of fun.
They they weren't ready for it. They weren't ready for that kind of speed or motion. And then he referred to Silas sacrificing himself as Silas marking the mother box. And I don't know what the hell that means.
Dude, I think since the first time I've seen that little disintegration part, I keep thinking that he is integrating himself, that he is somehow making it like tailoring it somehow. I don't know how to explain that. I keep thinking that that it is a sacrifice play, and there's a plan there, and it's something to do with like making the mother box more, I don't know, acclimatized to Cyborg.
Maybe. I just read the thing you sent me about Metal, and now I want to scream.
You said I could tell you.
What does it mean?
Yeah, I know.
That's so good. Okay, let me ask you this. Is Dark Knight's Metal mainstream continuity, mainline continuity, or is it leading into Future State for real? Or is it just
for real and also partial? So it takes place in a way where it is the major continuity right now in the comic format. I say major, and good Lord,
it seems like they're moving towards a more creator bubble.
Well, they
situation.
are, but they also kind of like Snyder has the keys at the moment, and that's a lot of what he's doing has been through the death metal prism, and he's tying that into Future State. So it will tie into Future State specifically. There are other things like Superman in Action Comics, like what Bendis is doing is different, and even what Batman Superman as a lone comic is doing is different. A lot of them are still tying in, like the Flash series ties in pretty specifically. There's the Morrison Green Lantern thing that's tied in, but very different. It's like Space Cop kind of thing.
So they're really embracing the multiverse, and just like where it wants to, if they want to tie it in, they can. If they don't have to. Kind of,
yeah. And in particular, the word omniverse has been introduced recently, and that's
the multiverse beyond the multiverse.
Thing. Yeah, like it's literally taking a multiplier and adding an exponent. It's just it seemed crazy when a couple of years ago when they were kind of wrapping up Metal, and they I think it was Aquaman who said like, yeah, we were living inside a fishbowl and in an ocean, and they broke the glass or whatever that metaphor was.
They like broke the source wall.
Yeah, that was the whole thing, was they broke the source wall. And that's like in the entirety of DC Comics for what, 40 plus years now?
Probably.
I mean, really, since the Kirby days, the source wall has been so important. And really, Snyder just, literally threw something at it called the totality, and decided, fuck all that shit. And then brought a bunch of nightmare landscape Batmans out of it, and what we have is what's come out of it. It's just been like the dark multiverse and all that shit. A lot of fun, just a ton of fun. And now they're doing all these stories about the dark multiverse where it's like Hush, where Hush wins, but it's or the Judas Contract, where fucking like basically some of them
where Deathstroke is the little girl.
Yeah,
and Tara's the grown man. That's
like I think in that one, Tara just destroys everyone. Like it. Oh God, I may be entirely wrong. Sorry, but yeah, like they've done a bunch of like dark multiverse stories where it's just,
I've seen they've done some of that.
You know, the protagonist is going to fail. That's the whole point. So anyway, so all that being said, they broke the source wall. There have been consequences. There have been consequences going forward. It's all still part of the story, and I don't know what the hell Future State has to offer. I've intentionally been denying myself some of that content and or some of that news because I kind of want to finish up the Metal series and see where that leaves me because, you know, in terms of spoilers, that's how I'd prefer to consume that. So I'll dig into Future State kind of after like Death Metal 6 or 7 maybe. Right now I think 5 was released like yesterday. I you know, couldn't pick it up tonight. I'll pick it up tomorrow and consume it, I'm sure, voraciously.
Yeah.
But it does all tie in. Death Metal does apparently lead to Future State, but Snyder has himself said on Twitter, where I saw him say it, that yes, it does tie in, but if you wanted to start there, you could.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to try to kind of a little bit start a new era from there. Not 5G by any stretch, but some of the stuff from 5G, like some of the ideas that were floating around, I think are going to be hanging around.
Yeah, right.
It's not exactly Rebirth or 52 or whatever, but it's going to be like a soft, we're going to try some new stuff kind of thing.
All right. So jumping back into this Snyder Cut trailer. Zack says that we will not see how Barry got his speed. He said that's a big piece. They left that open. They do go into stuff with his father, and he would love to get into the origin, but we'll see. He talked a little bit about how the place where the Atlanteans kept the mother box was outside of Atlantis, and how it was ancient resting place for the mother box. It used to be above water like Atlantis, and the shot where we see Aquaman walking back into the water and they cut to Mera staring at him. Mera is not actually looking at him in the movie. In the movie, she is looking at the mother box start to shake. In the scene,
I did love him describing it as like a Jim Morrison kind of thing. That walk back, because that is what that reminds me of.
Oh yeah, definitely. So the bit where Darkseid has his arms outstretched, Snyder says that he has summoned the mother box. He's revealed the anti-life equation. He's creating the unity, and he believes that this world is pretty much in the bag. Of course, this is not quite Darkseid yet. This is Uxas, and he is. This is right before Earth's defenders, the Atlanteans and the Themyscirans, and I assume the Green Lanterns to some degree come to defend the Earth. He does say.
It's like a thing I kept hoping he would reference as some kind of Green Lantern, and I never quite heard it.
Yeah.
But presumably.
Well, in the Film Junkie, he did say that Dave was going to be the new Green Lantern, so. I guess
So we got that at least.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
He said that Darkseid is going to be on Apocalypse, and that's where that scene is taking place, and that he is going to be, through hologram, the go-between between Darkseid and Steppenwolf, and he's going to offer backstory between Darkseid and Steppenwolf, and also there's going to be exposition and some insight into Darkseid's own ambitions. And Snyder also said in the Justice League version of Atlantis, even though Aquaman did it a little differently, because he was answering the question about why the air bubbles, he said in Justice League's version of Atlantis, when they speak English, they can't push water across their vocal cords, so they have sort of a different language, and that's kind of what you're going to see in the movie. I do wonder how that's going to line up with Aquaman. I assume Amber Heard is still not going to be playing the character the way she played her in Aquaman. She almost acted sort of haughty and Shakespearean in at least the theatrical cut of Justice League. Who knows if that was like Snyder's doing or if that was like Whedon's doing? Who knows? I'm curious. And then he also talked about how Alfred made those gauntlets, that he's like taking the hits from the parademons, and like he says that Wonder Woman's going to give him shit about it in Justice League, about how he got the inspiration for his gauntlets from her, which is awesome.
That's fantastic.
J. Scotty St. Clair over on Twitter asked, after getting a closer look at Steppenwolf's redesign and revisiting the little we've seen of Darkseid, what kind of impact will the HBO Max recut have on Ava DuVernay's new gods? Will we see the same versions of Darkseid and Steppenwolf or new ones? I can tell you what I'm hoping for, and I'm hoping for it to be in line with what Zack Snyder's doing. What I'm also hoping for, though, is that Ava DuVernay and Tom King can do what they want to do. So if that doesn't fall within those parameters, then I hope they do whatever, I hope they just make it a standalone. I do want to see some sort of unity between all of the movies, but, what are we going to do? I don't want, Snyder to get his way and Ava DuVernay to not get her way. Yeah. I don't have any, there's no way we could know that, though. I don't think there's any way we could know.
No, I get that. Yeah.
There's no way to even conject on what that would be.
No, we're way too far out to have any realistic guesses on any of that.
Yeah. But yeah, if I'm being completely honest, I want it to tie into Zack's. Always. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the tying in part and kind of making it all make sense holistically is, do you not just have your fingers crossed for Flash to make this make sense?
I do, and
he's the linchpin. He can make all of it kind of go away if you do it right.
He could muddle it. He could make it go away. He could be the version from the theatrical Justice League. He could introduce both of those. I mean, who knows, man? Who knows? And it makes me feel better that Snyder is at least he's down with Aquaman. He's down with this Flash movie. He's not being begrudging of it. And to me, that means that, Snyder fans shouldn't be either. Like, I've pissed off my fair share of Snyder Cut people, Snyder fans.
I for sure have.
And I consider myself among them also. So I'm sort of a late convert as well, but also, would say, no, I don't necessarily agree with everything Snyder's done. Like, and by that, I mean, I wouldn't have done it if I was in his place, but I do want the guy to be able to tell his story.
Absolutely.
And I'm heavily invested at this point.
Yeah.
Stu Little on Twitter says, when Zack Snyder Justice League restores the Martian Manhunter reveal to the story, do you think it could lead to an HBO Max spinoff? I think it could, but I don't think it will.
Yeah, that's about where I'd put it. And I'd welcome it, but I wouldn't put any money on it.
I mean, yeah, get Linux into an HBO Max spinoff. That sounds great.
I mean, I love the actor, and yeah, he'd be a lot of fun. But I don't know that. Wouldn't you love for somebody to pull a Peacemaker kind of situation, and be like, well, and Linux has his own show as Martian Man.
Yeah, but then there'd be like a whole, is this going to be a Zack Snyder thing? Is it going to be outside of the canon? Yeah.
And it's really going to be him as a retired, what was he,
general?
Colonel,
like a retired
general?
Now I'm going to talk myself into liking this idea.
Retired, whatever rank he was.
Becomes a dick, He
just becomes, a private eye, and occasionally you see him actually have to use his powers.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I'm in.
I don't think it will, but I'm down for it. I don't, there's nothing you could really, no DC thing you could pitch me where I wouldn't be, that would minimally down.
It really would make sense, too, because, he saw part of his government want to, deny this guy. Yeah. And, then, he watched him martyr himself and all that. Oh, yeah, you could really easily make that a story.
Yeah.
Well, what did he do while, Justice League was happening? Well, he was a private eye, and he was just kind of watching from a distance.
Yeah.
Because after the government betrayed him and all that, and there was a small group of the government that was pretty much on board, but we downplayed that later because, whoever Christopher Maloney was playing is... you could make this all make sense inside the universe is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you could. You could do a lot of stuff, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move over to the Suicide Squad.
He's not our enemy. Whatever.
Sylvester Stallone is going to be in the Suicide Squad.
Hell yeah. Don't know how. Don't care. Hell yeah.
I wasn't sure where you were going to fall on that. But I'm glad you're down because I'm down. I was happy to see him in Volume 2 of Guardians, and leader of the original Guardians, comic book canon wise anyway. 616 Guardians. Yeah, man, I'm down. This comes as a surprise. They didn't say who he's playing. I'm excited to see it though. Like, yes, hell yeah. Let's have Sly in there.
I mean, genuinely no idea. I got nothing as far as who he's going to show up as. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun to see where he shows up.
Yeah, Zach on Twitter says, any thoughts or speculations on Stallone? Rumors say he might be Ted Kord. I don't want him to be Ted Kord.
That's a no from me.
I'm
actually
not.
Did I just say I'd be happy to see him show up anywhere? I'm sorry, I was wrong.
You did.
What I meant was not that.
Not Ted Kord.
Yeah.
I just don't like. Again, I'd be interested to see what they did, but if we did find out, yes, it is Ted Kord.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Ted Kord in any way as a Sly Stallone type of character. I just can't see it in my head. Like I'm multiverse, whatever, but I'm also
not even multiverse. Look, I don't see it, but that is a great director and a great actor, and it's a great actor who's also a great writer and a great director. So. Dude, I don't know, man. They may have something planned that would blow me away, but
yeah,
my first thought is, really?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if he was Ted Kord and he had been smart at some point, and then like just got the shit beat out of him from being Blue Beetle,
yeah,
and was just kind of brain damaged and still a badass, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, it does have a lot to do with Sylvester's medical history, but there's no part of him that doesn't read as dude who's been through some shit.
Yeah.
And in the most heroic way, mind you, but
yeah, if they're going to do the Dark Beetle return, you know what? I've talked myself into it. I'm down, man. Let's do this Ted Kord shit. Let's do it. The Dark Beetle returns, man. Let's do let's do beat up Blue Beetle who just can't remember what that diode's supposed to do, but hey, I'm going to intuition my way around it.
Yeah, you're talking about like he actually survived Maxwell shooting him.
Oh,
that iconic cover Batman carries him out, and he actually gets medical treatment, and he's fine.
And no one's ever seen Booster. Everyone thinks Booster's just like an imaginary person he came up with. He's like, I'm telling Booster, he's telling me like. Man, we gotta fix the timeline. And I'm like, hey, I'm over here making my armor, like I'm trying, time travel technology ain't exactly easy to build,
Okay, there are two versions I'm liking now. One is that Booster Gold just keeps standing up for him, even though it doesn't really make any sense anymore. He's just like, no, that's my friend. Don't you fucking talk ill of him.
Right.
The other version I kind of like is that Skeet now just translates his nonsense into like what he's actually trying to say is if you redirect the quantum array, like he's actually still smart, but it takes Skeets they're very different words to
no,
somehow,
they're not really that different. They're not.
They're really not. It's just a matter of when you caught them.
No, I like the idea of Booster and Skeets being like trapped in between time or something, and they still hang out with Ted and talk to him, and everyone just thinks Ted is brain damaged beyond repair, like he's been shot in the head from Lord, and he's just like he's talking to this guy Booster, his buddy, his little buddy Booster,
Yeah.
Booster don't age, because he's trapped between time, And they're just like, what are you talking about, buddy? You're eccentric billionaire who was a vigilante and got his shit kicked in too many times. I like it, man. I think I've written my way into this. I like it.
There's one guy in the like high end asylum that he's kept in. I mean, really great care kept of him. And there's just one person who occasionally hears voices in his room, and by the time they get there, there's no one there, and he's just sitting there quietly talking about nonsense. But occasionally, you just hear him talking about some like future technology bullshit and blah blah blah, and he thinks he hears other voices, and even checks out the equipment because he thinks he hears like a computer voice here and there, but he never can quite find anything. And yeah, it's just them visiting him in his home, and he's perfectly clear when he's talking to them, and then he kind of goes back to like slightly being dumb or slightly being like impaired and slightly just pretending to be.
That could work. I think Sly could pull it off, dude. I think he can. I think he's a good enough actor. He can pull it off.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like I said, he's not, normally when you say triple threat, you mean like, what is it? Singing, acting, and dancing. But
yeah,
in this sense, it's the triple threat of like, yeah, he can write, he can direct, he can act. We have seen that. That is a very capable man.
Yeah.
It would kind of crack me up to see an embodiment of that in a way.
I'm down. I would watch that for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to watch it anyway, but
that being said, I think he's going to be Argyle.
You know, the thing that I think is he's probably going to be Rick Flag's dad. That's what I keep hearing from people, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds right.
That could be a lot of fun too. Yeah,
that sounds right.
Or even just a mentor.
Sure. Popping over to Aquaman 2, Amber Heard has said that filming is hopeful to begin next year. She says, I'm super excited about the amount of fan love and the amount of fan appreciation that Aquaman has acquired, and that it has garnered so much excitement for Aquaman and Mera that it means we'll be coming back. I'm so excited to film that. And she addressed the rumors that she would be replaced with the part. She said, paid rumors and paid campaigns on social media don't dictate casting decisions because they have no basis in reality. Only the fans actually made Aquaman and Aquaman 2 happen. I'm excited to get started next year. And the sequel is scheduled to be released December of 2022. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. Whatever you may think, you know, I see people who are like, she needs to be replaced because she abused Johnny Depp. And then the people who are like, Johnny Depp was done wrong. He was fired from Warner Brothers, from Fantastic Beasts, because he was found guiltier of the things. And he was abusive. Look, based on what I've seen, they're both a couple of toxic assholes in real life, and I want them both gone.
That is, yeah, that's kind of what I came away with is, yeah, I don't know where the fuck that lands, man. I mean, it was a strange court case. It was a stranger set of allegations, frankly.
I mean, you know,
it leaves us in a gray area. Look,
it's not that great to me. They were shitting in the bed to like screw each other over. Like, no, they both need to be gone. They just,
yeah, that's super fucked up. I granted, on the one hand, I will continually say to some people, like, you have to be able to separate art from life.
Yes, and if she is actually coming back, if they don't fire her like they did Johnny, every time I hear Johnny, I gotta say it like that. No, it's like John Lovitz, you know, in that Phil Hartman bit. It's like, they don't love you anymore, Johnny. What's the word on the street? You're done, Johnny. Yeah, man, I replace her ass. There's in no world, based on what I've heard and what I've read, in no world should this woman be able to continue playing Mera in $1 billion franchise when Johnny Depp, who has made all the monies, gets fired. No, they're both toxic weirdo sacks of shit that were incredibly abusive to one another. You know, I've heard a lot of people being like, well, I don't want to take sides or make a statement. No, her ass needs to go.
No, I could definitely get in bed with her ass needs to go. I mean, I'm saying this from personal experience, like in my own family where I've described situations to people, possibly even therapists, where I described it as, I'm going to tell you a story and I need you to know that there are no heroes here.
There are no heroes.
It's like there are no redeeming characters. There's no story arc where you're gonna like be rooting for someone. I'm just going to describe you as I'm going to describe to you a series of circumstances and events that happened, and at the end of it, you're going to go, oh, and that's all you're going to have because it's all you should have.
Humanity's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I just can't. I mean, I'll watch it. I'll watch Aquaman 2, and the whole time, every time Amber Heard's on screen, I'm just gonna be like, shaking my head and going like, why?
Yeah, I get it.
Like, I mean, I can look at her and understand like why, but also that's a shallow ass thing.
Yeah,
because she's honestly
hardly enough.
She's not that damn good in anything I've seen her in. Like, she's fine. She's workable. But
I mean, she's competent as a professional. I don't think that's the problem.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's, like I said, she's fine, but it's not like there's nothing mind blowing there to be like, we're going to overlook all of the things you did that have come out.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's stupid. And yeah, both her and Depp need to go. I don't think she's, brave because she told her truth. Nobody's the villain of their own story. Like everybody that tells that tells their truth, they all think that they're the good guy. Like, it's just the whole situation is gross to me.
I get it. And there's, like I said, I do constantly talk to people about, like, you have to be able to separate these things, even author from their story and stuff like that. Like, was it Imaginary Worlds did a really good H.P. Lovecraft thing about, how people are dealing with the fact that he was, like, just a piece of shit fucking racist.
He would be so mad about his show. That new show.
Absolutely. Like, bless you, Peel, for fucking turning that thing on its ear. But he was terrible. He was a terrible person. But he also invented this entire world you can play in that's like, okay, we do need to be able to separate these things. And I do get that. But
I'm a huge Star Trek fan. Gene Roddenberry was a sack of shit, dude.
Yeah. You know what that guy loved is coming out of his dick.
He did. He said that.
In the writer's room.
He did. He loved cocaine. He was.
I get it.
Actively went out of his way to write lyrics to the Star Trek theme song so Alexander Courage could not get full monetary benefits from it. Sack of shit. Sack of shit.
That's terrible.
Sorry. I know all you little Trekkies out there just clutching your freaking hearts and going, how could you say such things about our beloved Vision? No, asshole.
No.
The best thing that ever happened to those movies was Harv Bennett came in and they forbade Roddenberry from screwing with anything else in the movies and just like, here, go play your little TV show. And Next Generation didn't even really get good until after he died. Sorry! Just the truth. Because he would go to lunch and do so much cocaine and come back just absolutely blitzed out of his mind.
Just munted.
Start like demanding, alien women with 3 tits and shit. Like just, oh my God.
As one does, obviously.
Well, I mean, sure. Cocaine is a hell of a drug, as I'm told.
Look, I get the separation thing, and there's value to it, and there's also value to the, you know what? Look, why do we put ourselves through this? Like at some point, I don't know, man. Look, if it were me, I would just say we're gonna recast this and call it a day. That's where I would stand with it. That's where I would land with it, I guess. But as it is, I guess I'm gonna have to find my piece to some extent.
Well, we just. Honestly, I just think they're waiting for the Snyder Cut to come out.
Maybe.
I think they're just like, I can't afford another bit of tumult on this thing. Let's just, let's let her film that additional photography and
let's let that drop. We're going to call it a day.
They're like, hey, Zach, you remember what happened with Tig? Mm-hmm. Over on Army of the Dead? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you do another season. And then I would actually hope that Snyder would replace Amber Heard with Tig Notaro.
Tig, absolutely. Fuck yes.
Oh, God.
100.
All right, so...
I'm into it.
All right, so the Batman's production's been a little... Yeah, she is. She's on Discovery. Did you know about that?
No. Doing what?
She's kind of, I guess, the chief engineer on Discovery at this point. Like, they found her last season.
When you say Discovery, what do you mean?
Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, God. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
I was in a whole different space.
Yeah, no, she's great on that show. Like she's like an engineer, and they found her on like this like doomed space station, and they like saved her last season. And now she's just sort of like, because the crew jumped like 1,000 years in the future, she's just kind of like the chief engineer now.
Nice.
But she's hilarious. She's great. Like, she gets all like the one-liners, smart ass.
Oh, dry as fuck.
Like, great job. Anyway.
Acerbic, as you'd say.
So the Batman's production has been a little pulled back here. One of the stuntman who's playing Batman, I guess, has been is tested positive for COVID-19. He was part of a bubble that included 9 other members of the production staff, and they're all going into quarantine for 14 days and won't be coming back until Christmas.
The bastards probably got crepes at some point.
Man, they'll still be filming some stuff, but the stunt stuff has been pushed back.
Yeah.
Now, aside from Snyder stuff, and maybe even in some regards more than that, and I know that's controversial, and I'm not sure about it myself, But Peter Stormare, who played Lucifer in Constantine, Keanu Reeves' Constantine, went on Instagram and shared an online story that was praising his performance. And the image said, in Constantine, Peter Stormare plays one of the best versions of Satan in film history. I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I'm down.
It's my favorite part of that movie.
That last scene where he's just ripping the tar out of his lungs.
Right,
glorious.
Right. I actually want to see like Tom Ellis and him like interact in a multiverse sense.
The dream.
And so that's not really a story, but the story is the caption on Stormare's post said, "Sequel in the works." Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm down.
Look, man, as you know, back in the day when Constantine came out,
was that 05?
Yeah. I'll admit, College Dave, who was steeped in the knowledge of the comic books universe, even though Comics Dave enjoyed the movie for what it was and would scoff and go, for what it was. I mean, it was fine, I guess. I don't know why they couldn't do it like the comics. Comics Dave didn't understand why Constantine couldn't be British, why he was brunette and all that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a good movie.
Yeah.
And I am really excited to see more. If that's what it comes to, I would like to see more.
Yeah.
And
it was that thing was a lot of fun.
Comics
Dave. I watched it several times.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the shit out of it.
College Comics Dave was a pretentious shit, but you know what? That movie wasn't bad.
Yeah. It
was good. And AT&T, dude, Keanu Reeves is so big right now. There's no way they're not doing this.
If they're going to pull another Bill and Ted out, they could pull a Keanu Constantine Part 2 out in a heartbeat.
Now we know that
him chewing 42 packs of gum through the entire movie.
I mean, we know that Abrams.
Smoking CBD cigarettes. Maybe that'll be a thing.
Oh shit, that's good.
I thought you stopped smoking. CBD, it's fine.
Yeah,
no talk.
Except it'd be more like CBD is fine. This is because it's Keanu. But no, man, like freaking. We know Abrams is doing Justice League Dark. We know that they're messing around with. I don't see this coming to theaters. I feel like it would be an HBO Max thing. But I watched the shit out of it.
That sounds
I'd
great.
watch the shit out of it.
Absolutely. Charge me $29 on top of my prescription.
Just the fact that Peter Stormare knows about it. I'm like, hell yes, let's bring his Lucifer back. Like, we don't even need Constantine. Let's do Lucifer on HBO Max as Mike Carey, closer to the Mike Carey material with Peter Stormare. Shit. Hell yeah. As a younger Dave once said on this very podcast, roll that shit up and stick it in my dick hole. Let's do it.
There's certain shots in the movie I will never forget, like everything with the angel in the pool.
Yeah,
like the him.
Tilda
his
Swinton.
wrists and still, Tilda Swinton, fucking, God, and then just the fingers flicking. Glorious.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I need to go back and watch it again. I'd really do. All right, so
the one thing I do remember about that movie is that I don't remember enough about that movie, and that we should probably go back and watch it at some point.
Oh, we'll definitely go back and watch it now.
That's going to be an episode at some point in the future.
Yeah, needs to be.
Yeah.
All right.
Put it on the table.
Let's always stand on the table. Yeah. Let's pop over to television after a break. A quick break from my sponsors. All right, we are back from our piss break.
Gotta happen.
So, Terrence Winter, the creator of Boardwalk Empire, who was serving as a main writer and showrunner for the Batman HBO Max spinoff show, he has departed. He has departed from that show. Creative differences with Reeves and the other producers, he says. Thoughts, feelings?
I just kind of don't have any yet. Don't know where the show is going, and I didn't watch Boardwalk Empire, so I don't know. Everyone's
sort of decrying it, like, oh, it's the end. I'm like, I didn't watch Boardwalk Empire.
No, I mean, any creative differences, depart from the showrunner is always a little weird, and
I'm glad they caught it now.
Yeah, early is better, frankly, and I heard great things about Boardwalk, but I don't know from experience, so I don't know what I'm missing, frankly. I just don't know. Complete ignorance on my part.
Yep. J. Scotty St. Clair over on Twitter says, of the 2 upcoming HBO Max series we know to be directly connected to DC films, which do you have highest expectations for? The GCPD procedural connected to Matt Reeves' The Batman? Or, my choice, the John Cena-led Peacemaker series? What level of interconnectivity is appropriate? I don't know Matt Reeves. I have very little interest in doing Gotham again. I don't know that that's what this will be. I have no reason to feel like it's going to be Gotham, and I don't think it will be.
I don't think it will, but
we know
it will eventually come to bear what the creative difference was, but that's probably like 2 years from now?
Maybe, yeah. And, I'm looking at, they've said it's a show, about a vigilante is started up. We know that's going to be Batman. Yeah. And it's about a crooked cop. That's fine. We don't know anything else really beyond that.
Right. I don't know what I'm missing there. Not yet.
And I haven't seen those Planet of the Apes movies. I don't know Matt Reeves' body of work, honestly. Like, the most I've seen of Matt Reeves is like the trailer for the Batman.
Yeah.
So,
which was deeply exciting, but not.
No. By the same token, Peacemaker series. I don't know Peacemaker very well. I'm not a fan of John Cena.
I like him just fine.
He's all right. I'm not. I didn't say I hated him. I'm not a fan. I don't care. Mm-hmm. The most I've ever liked John Cena is when in that Suicide Squad trailer he said that he was
douchey Captain America.
Douchey Captain America. Yeah. So
I do feel like you have for some reason maybe, and I may be remembering this wrong. You maybe have like a weird prejudice against like former wrestling stars.
Not The Rock.
See, okay, am I remembering it wrong? You do like The Rock?
I like The Rock.
You do smell what he's cooking.
I do. Okay. Like when I have seen wrestling, it was usually because I was flipping through and The Rock was on, and I went, that guy.
Okay. For a minute, I thought I remembered you being like, well, I just don't care. I didn't care about that.
I don't care about wrestling.
No, I don't care about it in general, but I've had a couple periods where I've watched, and one of the periods was very, very much because The Rock was a very entertaining person to watch.
Right. And I never
it was like in Stone Cold, Triple H era, like Kane, Undertaker had there was a lot of stuff going on. It was a lot of fun.
I never sought it out. I never, I didn't go like, oh, The Rock's going to be on tonight, so I don't give a shit. Yeah. If I was flipping through and he was doing something funny, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I like The Rock. I was happy when he transitioned over to acting, just because he is an entertaining individual.
I don't know when it would have been. I believe I actually did see him as The Rock in Birmingham at one point.
Oh, interesting.
On a SmackDown.
Was
it Thursday night? Monday night SmackDown. Anyway, one of those tapings, I believe. I know I watched WWF when it came through Birmingham at one point. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what that was. Pretty sure. It would have been in his era. I'm pretty certain I saw him.
Okay.
You would think I would remember that more clearly.
Yeah.
What I distinctly remember is looking at Kane, and he was like, 9.5 feet tall. It was insane.
Yeah.
He was a giant. Reminded me of what people must have thought when they were actually watching Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, how does this human exist? Yeah, not for long. Wait for it.
As for Jay Scott's question, though, I think I'm going to go with Peacemaker. I don't care necessarily at this point about John Cena, but one, he does seem to have a pretty good sense of humor about himself and in general. James Gunn, I liked Slither. I loved both Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I like, a lot of the stuff he's put out. I have faith in James Gunn so far. Really, the only thing I've seen of James Gunn's that I didn't enjoy were those tweets from a few years ago, or several years ago at this point. And even some of those were a little funny.
Yeah, they were just really, really bad jokes, is what it
was. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
no, it's like, most of it's just like shock jock bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to try to get a response. Which, everybody, or a lot of people have gone through that phase who are trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Myself included, probably.
Oh, for sure. I remember it was.
You're like, oh, for sure. I remember you saying some stupid shit.
Oh no, I'm sure. No, we were probably doing that simultaneously in high school and college, and then met later when we knew better.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's how that went down.
Yeah, probably. Now, as for what level of interconnectivity is appropriate, however much they want to put in, like, I'll tell you this already from what we're hearing with the Peacemaker series, it seems like there's more interconnectivity than any of the Marvel TV shows ever had, which is, I can very definitively say, was too little. Too little.
Have you seen the last season of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No.
I haven't either. I'm just wondering.
Bethany says there's not a lot there. I've actively been told that there's nothing, that they basically use time travel to get around the entire in-game situation, and they are in a separate universe now.
Oh, that's weird. I watched half the first episode, and I mean nothing against it by saying I haven't seen it. I actually really do want to watch it. I just time restraints, saw half of the first episode. Like I remember getting to Patton Oswalt and thinking like, well, it's just always fun to see him. And I just didn't have time at the time.
Yeah.
But oh no, that was the other thing. It was I think Hulu still had that show. So I was able to watch like the first episode because I think they have 5 episodes before. All right, so there's just like 5 episodes and then it retires and you can't see it anymore. Right. And then you have to wait for the whole season to do it. And I think I watched like half of one episode, came back 2 weeks later and realized, oh shit, I can't even finish that episode now, and had to bail on the whole season. And I'm sure it's all available now. Maybe not on Hulu because I think their deal goes somewhere else afterwards. Is it on Netflix? Okay.
It's on Netflix right now. I'm planning on getting to it. They just dropped season 7. I'm still working my way through some Jessica Jones shit. And actually, I'm on Iron Fist season 2 right now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like none of those shows though, like connected enough for me. Like they were connected
they
enough
definitely had
for me
moments, but it wasn't.
Yeah, like I wasn't overly upset about it. Like, and you know, a lot of people were like, oh, they're not really part of anything. Okay. Yeah. Well, yes and no. Like there were clear indicators that they were, but at the same time, man, I really would have liked to have seen Daredevil run around with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Or something, you know? So, and you know, I'm still holding out hope. Like, please, y'all, please get this. Come on. Like, I'm not saying we should do everything the same. I don't think that. Like, fire the showrunner for Iron Fist. Let's not do that again. Let's have a fun show. Like, don't renew Luke Cage. Don't renew Iron Fist. Do Heroes for Hire with both of them together because they were fantastic together.
Oh yeah.
You know, we don't necessarily need Jessica Jones. Like, have her come in as like a, you know, a lead on that show if you want. That's fine. You know,
there was a lot that I got so torn because like Jones season 1, there was so much there. Jones season 2 was kind of deeply boring at times.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've never gotten around to season 3 and I don't know if I ever will.
I think they should condense Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist into one show.
Burger.
All right. And we need a Daredevil season 4 and Punisher season 3. Mush. Make them connected.
Yeah.
And then you have the confusing elements with like Cloak and Dagger mentioning Misty, but being on Hulu. Oh my God.
Oh, and that's where it gets weird for me is like I've watched every episode of Cloak and Dagger happily, and it's in some ways at least as related as the rest of them. I mean, it's as there as anything else is, but.
And then I fear like I've got Kevin Feige over my shoulder whispering the whole time I'm watching going, none of this shit counts.
Yeah. It's been my overall problem with the like the movies check down to TV, but TV doesn't check up to movies. It's been an overall problem. It's one of the reasons it was like just life-changingly. I'll never forget the moment I saw Ezra on the CW.
Yeah, we need to move past this like movie versus TV bullshit because in the streaming age, like TV shows are, you know, long-form movies, man. We need to have contracts out there that's like, you know, multiple media, like multimedia deals, whereas like you have, you know, 15 appearances. It could be in a TV show. It could be in, you know, whatever, but you're contractually obligated to do this shit. And they can even parse it out to where like you have to give me 6 months out of a year where I can do other projects to further my career. But other than that, I'm yours. So they can just like choose where they want those certain characters. But, you know, the industry has to change. We can't keep like just holding fast to like, no, we can't have Robert Downey Jr. show up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, that's just awful.
Yeah, I get that.
Because I want RDJ in all the things.
I mean, of course. Like, it would have made a world of difference to have any number of actors there. And even then, you got Samuel L. in the first season, and it still just kind of barely mattered. Like, it was really important that it happened, and then nothing really ever came from it.
I mean, that's not true, though. I mean, he showed up in that one episode, but then he came back in episode 16 and was badass. Like,
Really?
he's running
I don't
around.
remember that.
You don't remember episode 16? It was
No.
like, it
First
led
season?
in. Yeah, man, it led
That was
into
20 years ago. I don't remember.
It wasn't 20, but they were leading into, like, we had like Sitwell be like, I gotta catch a boat, and that led right into Civil War. We had friggin' like Fury show up, like I think episode 17, like, and he was supposedly dead from friggin' Civil War, but he showed up to help Coulson. Like, yeah, man.
Well, shit, I don't remember that arc at all.
Yeah, man.
You can go check that out.
That was the whole thing.
Damn sure I watched it because I've seen
Oh yeah.
literally everything other than this season. But
All right. Let's head over to this HBO Max Green Lantern
that's
series.
still nice though. It does. It's nice to see Marvel like check it back up to movies. I'd forgotten about that entirely.
Yep. It happened from time to time. We had, remember Lady Civ came over to Legends, freaking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a couple of times.
I do remember Lady Shiv, but that was still part of my check down but not check up theory.
Yeah. Green Lantern over at HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
The Direct. They've been kind of coming to prominence lately. I've seen them pop up in the rumor mill from time to time. Some of the bigger people are talking about them, so I don't trust them. But they're not, we got this covered yet.
Okay.
So, new report from the Direct says that
We're
the
listening,
Dominators,
I guess.
the Dominators from the Invasion comics and the Arrowverse storyline that was inspired by it are in the cards to square off with the Green Lanterns in the upcoming series. So, and it's apparently, according to them, going to be Guy Gardner, along with the new Green Lantern lady that they've got coming in, who are going to be like half human lady, who are going to be fighting the Dominators. That's part of a storyline set in 1984. Man, apparently, like, if this is true, like, Berlanti and Guggenheim were just heavily affected by this series, this like invasion series. Like, I don't necessarily have any great fondness for the Dominators.
No, I mean they strike a nice image, but and they do have like a cool kind of zombie-ish, aesthetic to them.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know, dude. If you're just doing the metrics of like, well, zombie movies do well, and they kind of look like that, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
They actually kind of look like a lot of the classic monsters all at once, like
Yeah, in some ways, yeah.
like a zombie vampire situation.
Mm-hmm. Now, according to the Direct as well, this Green Lantern show is going to be TVMA for profanity and violence throughout the show, which makes sense. I mean,
Damn straight.
HBO Max and
Yeah,
freaking Doom Patrol and all that shit. Doom Patrol and Titans and Harley Quinn and
one of the
apparently.
one of the major breaths of fresh air of going to streaming is not having to deal with some of the advertising restrictions. So, like, standards and practices can go fuck themselves. Well and truly.
Mm-hmm. And they can record themselves saying that, too.
Yeah, that's a glorious thing.
Over to Batwoman, they put out a new teaser for season 2. We got just a little bit of Ryan Wilder as Batwoman. She seems totally different in attitude. Did you see this thing?
Mm-mm.
She, like...
I heard the attitude difference, but I
oh, dude. Like, this feels like Spider-Man.
Nice.
Like, she, like, pops in upside down, talking to some thug on the street and goes, like, boo! Like, what? This is not Kate Kane. This is... Man, she's got an attitude difference.
Is she going to pull the, like, oh, no, you found my weakness, sharp knives?
It's my favorite line from those movies.
It's a really good line.
Over on Black Lightning, they have promoted Chantal Twee to series regular. That's Grace Choi, by the way. So if you were worried about how she was going to fare based on the season finale, I think she'll be all right.
You'll be all right. Yep.
Now, this is a weird thing that I'm not, I mean, I hate to say I'm not down for it, but I'm not. I don't care. I don't want it. I generally
dubious
want
at best.
I generally want all the things, and I'll check it out, and I'll hope it's good. But right now I'm going, the CW has reportedly asked the producers of Black Lightning for a backdoor pilot for a potential Painkiller spinoff.
I was torn too. I mean, I like parts of the character. The whole stuck in his brain storyline.
I need assurances, first of all, that we're not just going to get that for every episode is him talking to himself in a freaking closet.
Yeah,
or
that
whatever.
I think it was a dojo,
Chill
I guess,
cell
maybe,
or whatever. I don't know.
But yeah, like
I got the feeling from that last Ender that he merged with that guy. He merged with that part of himself.
I
mentally.
think / hope so. But and honestly, I got no problems with the actor.
Yeah, no, he's fine.
He's done great.
He's damn attractive too. Just
he can light up the room. I'm sure.
total smoke show.
I'm sure he's his own thirst trap by himself. But
it never occurred to me that I might hear you say the word thirst trap, but okay.
Yeah, the internet gets to us all. But I've got no problem with him, and I have no problem with a lot of his story. It's been a lot of fun. Like, he's become an anti-hero and all. There's a lot to work with there, and a lot of it has been fun to watch. But I am so turned off by the whole compartmentalizing himself neurologically thing in a way that, like, I can't with that in the same way that I couldn't with Lucy and the 10% bullshit. Like, some stuff is so absolutely ridiculous from just like a rudimentary understanding of psychology standpoint that I just can't get there. I can't get up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Just limping around with it. Can't go for it.
Yeah. So it says, after attempting to bury the darker, devastatingly lethal painkiller part of his persona, Khalil has distanced himself away from everyone he knows and loves in a new city, Akashic Valley, in order to find peace. But peace never comes easy for men with pasts like this. As his violent, destructive history crashes his idyllic new beginning, Khalil is thrust back into action with a new mission: bring justice where he once gave out punishment. But to do that, he will first have to deal with and harness his darker side. That just sounds like more talking to himself in the friggin' whatever, the room.
It does.
It sounds so boring to me. This sounds so bad.
There's a lot of ways this could go that I'd be okay with. This is not necessarily the most exciting thing I've heard.
Yeah, I am.
Look, dude, a lot of people loved it. Good for them. I'm just not on that train myself. Not yet.
Yeah. And apparently CW is, or I guess not, I don't know about CW. Yeah, I guess it is. CW is developing another project. Greg Berlanti is developing Wonder Girl. But it will not be Donna Troy. It will be a version that we don't know yet from Future State.
Yep.
Yara Flor, daughter of an Amazonian warrior and Brazilian river god.
That's literally all I know, just because, as we were talking about earlier, I know that what's happening right now ties in, so I've intentionally cut myself off from news. I didn't even really, I saw that was one of the characters involved. I know that there are kind of new versions and new iterations of all of the main characters we've all been used to, and that's one of the only ones that I saw. I didn't even know what the reception was, but best I can hear, the reception to her was really good. So there's momentum there. Yeah. I mean, sounds great. I just literally haven't, I've blocked myself off from any news on Yara intentionally until I get to the end of Death Metal, and then I'm sure I'll be into it. I mean, I've already got, my pull list is already full of Future State. It's just we're 2 months out.
So, Queen of the South executive producer and co-showrunner Dalen Rodriguez will write the pilot, which will be produced by Berlanti Productions. And we don't know if it's going to be in the Arrowverse proper or if it's going to be a separate universe. We do know that, obviously Legends of Tomorrow has literally set foot on Themyscira. So who knows where that lands post-Crisis, of course. But they have said that it's going to be, I don't know, I guess it's Latinx is how you're supposed to pronounce that. Heroin.
Latinx? I'm not sure either. I've seen the word so many times, but I've never actually heard it said out loud now that I think about it.
Yeah. So I like the character design that we've seen from the comics. So I'm down. I'm a lot more interested in that than I am Painkiller.
Yeah. I mean, how hard did it, how much can you get out of Greg Berlanti, dude? I mean, does he sleep?
Nah.
You remember in the crossover when Garrick just runs until there's nothing left to give?
Yeah.
That's got to be like the Berlanti metaphor.
He's just going to explode into burning embers.
I mean, dude works so fucking hard. And we owe way, way, way more than most people realize to that man.
Yeah, probably so.
Good Lord. I mean, he's the, yeah. Long story short, like, you know, we talked about the first Green Lantern draft was his and everything the CW accomplished. And good Lord, man. I mean, there's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen this trailer for Batman Soul of the Dragon?
I haven't. I saw that there was a release date and that was it.
Would you like to before discussing it?
Oh, it's one of those now.
It can be. It can be.
It'd be like that, huh?
It don't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to force you into anything.
Yeah, we can.
I've just sent it to you on the thing, on the chat.
Right. We'll take a brief pause. Gotta close this picture of Steppenwolf. I'm getting an ad for The Mandalorian.
Me too. I got it too.
Shit, we're in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This music is fantastic.
Yeah, I really liked it too.
It's solid as shit. Is that Christopher Ting? No, what's his name? No, Christopher Ting was a Futurama guy.
Christopher Drake?
Christopher Drake, yes.
I don't know.
Break out that wah pedal, baby. Yeah. Okay, is that literally Bruce Lee?
No, it's Richard Dragon. You would know him as Richard Diaz from Arrow, but that's Richard Dragon.
I remember that. I'm just also saying, is that literally Bruce Lee? Because they made a Bruce Lee film with Batman.
They did. They basically did, yeah.
I'm not even hating on that. I'm just saying that's what this is.
Yo, yeah, totally. Like, I felt like I was sitting there going, like, did freaking Quentin Tarantino
Actually,
do this?
second comment. First is like, this trailer is more 70s than actual 70s DC movies. Oh, probably. Second comment, Bruce Wayne meets Bruce Lee, take my money.
Mm-hmm. So do you know who David Guntoli is?
That does ring a bell, but shit, no.
He was in Eli Stone as Scott Colby. Did you watch that?
I did not.
He was Nick Bernhardt in Grimm.
Oh, hold on. That's David Guntoli. How do you spell his name? There you go, David Guntoli.
Yeah.
Oh, the guy from Grimm. Yes, Grimm. Yeah, I like him.
He's Batman.
Awesome.
In this thing. Michael J. White is playing
the same height.
Michael J. White's playing Bronze Tiger, though.
That's pretty sweet.
Again, he's back. That's Bronze Tiger. I thought that was cool. I thought it was cool that Kelly Hu, Lady Deathstrike from X-Men 2, is Lady Shiva in this thing. God, man. I know this guy's name. I don't know what he's been in. Mark Dacascos. Looks like he was in Brotherhood of the Wolf, John Wick 3. I've seen him around.
Too good. How the fuck do you spell Dacascos?
It is Dacascos.
Yep, there you go. Thank you, Google. Oh, I know that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him around the bit.
Very much an I know that guy kind of guy.
Oh, he was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's how I know him. He was
Brotherhood of the Wolf. Oh, back in the day.
He was in a bunch of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I do remember the John Wick 3 thing, too. A character actor. You've seen him 1,000 times.
Yeah. Looks like I have, yeah. He was in, in the 1990s Flash, man. He was a Sokka.
Nice. One of those people, like, every time you see him, you're like, there's nothing wrong here. And then you just don't see him again for forever. And yeah, some people, it's the character actor syndrome.
You got Josh Keaton, who did a shit ton of voices. Voltron, Legendary Defender, freaking Young Hercules, Spider-Man, Shattered Dimensions, Justice League Crisis on Two Earths. Like, he was the Flash and Aquaman on that shit.
Dear Christ.
Like, that dude's been in everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I'm down. I'm down. This seems cool. Like,
yeah,
this is exactly the kind of like whacked out shit that I'm down for. Honestly, like, yeah, man, let's see a different version of these characters. Let's go to the 70s and see freaking Richard Dragon and Bronze Tiger running around with Batman in the 70s. Let's do that. Yeah, I'll put a link up for you guys in the show notes. No one ever goes to the show notes, but yeah, whatever. I'll put it up there.
They're there for posterity.
Posterity. Maybe someone will give a shit.
I feel like occasionally someone does, and that makes it all worth it.
Well, here at the 3-hour mark, I'm gonna have to let you know I'm done.
Yep, that's cool. I gotta start another day at some point. Should probably get in bed in order to do that with any any chance of survival, for being honest.
So that's it. I'm going to call the show, man.
Let's do it.
Thank you for listening to DC On Screen. We went a long ass time tonight. See you in a few days, because this won't come out until the weekend, probably.
It's a real thing.
Until next time, keep some DC on your screen. Our intro music is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Galactic Engineers of Magnetic Sounds, or GEMS, can be found on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Visit DCOnScreen.com to find our Patreon, merch, contact information, and every episode of the show for free, including crossovers we've done with other podcasts. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. For more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, vlogs, parodies, and our improvised web series Hey Guy, visit maladjusted.tv.